Hey there, fellow history lovers. Before we dive into tonight's tale, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that like button, share this video, and of course, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You won't want to miss the story we've got lined up for you tomorrow night. And hey, don't forget to drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from. It's always cool to see how far our stories travel across the globe. Now, let's get comfy, dim the lights, and prepare to drift into the past, because what you're about to hear isn't the fairy tale version of history. Oh no, tonight we're talking about a world where survival wasn't guaranteed and comfort was something reserved only for the privileged few. Picture this: you wake up in the year 1325. The air is thick, the ground beneath you cold and damp. You're lying on a straw mattress, if you can even call it that, filled with who knows what. It smells like the barn floor it once was, and worse, it's shared with fleas, hay, and maybe even a rat or two. There's no comfy pillow, no fluffy duvet, just a heavy wool blanket that feels like it's seen more winters than you've seen years. Oh, and don't even think about trying to snooze in. The church bell rings loud and clear, dragging you out of your half-decent slumber like a cruel alarm clock. But it's much worse. As you stretch and groan, your spine creaks, a reminder of how your body's already giving up on you at 22. Yeah, 22 is practically ancient in medieval times. Every joint hurts. You can't even sit up without feeling like you're being squished by a weight you didn't sign up for. Still, there's no time to wallow in your misery. You're not in a castle with plush beds and soft sheets. No, you're in a mud and straw hut. And let me tell you, things are only going to get worse from here. The morning light slants through your hut's thin, cracked walls, the dim glow doing nothing to warm the freezing air. You can feel the cold creeping up your spine like an unwanted visitor, gnawing at you, reminding you that comfort is a luxury you'll never know. You're not in a grand stone castle with thick walls or cozy blankets. No, you're in a mud and straw hovel where the floor might be the earth, soaked from last night's rain. You try to ignore it, but the unmistakable smell hits you. The mixture of wet straw, old animal sweat, and something that might have once been food, but is now too far gone to tell. The scent sticks in your nostrils and makes your stomach churn. There's no escaping it though, just like there's no escaping the endless grind of medieval life. You roll out of bed, if you can even call it that. The mattress beneath you is a sad excuse for bedding, a rough patch of hay stuffed into an old sack. It's not comfortable, not by any means. It's a constant reminder that you are expendable, just another nameless soul in a world that doesn't care. Your blanket is heavy and caked with winter grime, and you have to have it off yourself like a woolen cow. But you don't complain because you know that complaining won't change a thing. In this world, the cold doesn't care if you're tired, your back is sore, or your mind wants to shut down. It will get you whether you like it or not. Your hands are stiff, your fingers already protesting the effort it takes to untangle the blanket. But there's no time for that. The church bell rings, a harsh, shrill reminder that the day has started, whether you're ready or not. It's an alarm clock that doesn't ask for your consent, an early wake-up call from a world that doesn't understand the meaning of comfort. You hear the bell clanging again, louder now. Its sound slicing through the cold air, demanding your attention. It's a call to rise, to face another day. But what do you have to face? You glance over at your companions. Godric is still snoring, a deep, grating sound that makes you wish you could swap places with him, even for a few more minutes. Conversely, Willett is awake, but his feet have been filthy for the last few days. You've lost count of how often you've heard him muttering to himself, talking about things only he can understand. His feet are beyond saving at this point, stained with dirt and what you're pretty sure is old grease. If it weren't for the smell of his feet, you might even feel sorry for him. But right now, you're just grateful that he's not snoring. With a heavy sigh, you rise to your feet, your body protesting the movement. You stretch, but your muscles ache like they've been put through a grinder. The work of a medieval archer is unforgiving, especially in a world like this. Every day you've been training for months, the same brutal routine, pulling back a bowstring repeatedly, each shot feeling like it might be your last. Your body is beginning to feel the strain, the constant wear and tear of training with a weapon nearly as tall as you are. It's not a light bow. It's a weapon made for war, made to be wielded by someone who knows what it's like to fight for survival. And you're just another person trying to stay alive, doing what you can with the little you have. The food here, when you're lucky enough to get it, isn't much better than the life you're living. Tamsin, the camp cook, has become a legend in her own right, though for all the wrong reasons. She's rough around the edges, with one eye and a limp that makes her look like she's constantly walking through a storm. But don't let her appearance fool you. She's the only one to feed this group of exhausted archers. Most mornings you'd be lucky to get a bowl of what she calls porridge, though it's more like a sad boiled mash that might have once been food. Today there's a weevil floating in your breakfast. But hey, at least that's protein, right? You don't complain though. Complaining doesn't get you anywhere in this world. It just makes you look weak. You eat your breakfast in silence, surrounded by men and women who, like you, are barely holding it together. No one talks much in the mornings because what's there to say? The day will be long, the training grueling, and the food will be scarce. Again. It's the same story, day in and day out. Outside, the weather isn't much better. It's raining sideways, the sky dark and brooding as if it knows that you're about to go through hell again. You pull on your wet tunic, your leather vambraces already soaked, and step out into the muck. The ground beneath your feet is a mess of mud and puddles, but that's nothing new. It's been like this for weeks. You'd swear you were living in a swamp if it wasn't for the rain. The training field looks more like a marsh than a place for archery. There are puddles everywhere, each one a miniature lake. And to make matters worse, a goose has claimed the archery target as its kingdom. The thing hisses at anyone who dares approach, a ridiculous sight that might have been funny in any other world. But not today. Today, you've got more pressing matters to deal with. Lord Everwin's nephew, Sir Osbert, is strutting around the field, his feathered helmet perched precariously on his head, looking more like a child playing dress-up than a commanding officer. He orders you and the others into position, barking out commands like he's some great warlord. But really, he's just a spoiled brat with no idea what it's like to fight for survival. You and the others line up, your body aching with every movement, but there's no time for weakness, no time for complaining. You pull back your bowstring, your fingers raw, your arms shaking. You draw, you lose, and you do it again, over and over. The target is in your sights. You're not thinking about the rain or the mud or the fact that your fingers are starting to lose feeling. You're thinking about the goose. The damn thing is in the way and it's pissing you off. One shot and you'll be the hero of the day. But as you release the arrow, it goes wide. Of course, it does. You blame the wind, the rain, anything but your inability. Sir Osbert doesn't care. He's too busy strutting around, waving his stupid rod of discipline, which is, in reality, just a broom handle painted silver. You grit your teeth, frustrated, but you don't say anything. You can't. Complaints won't make the rain stop. Complaints won't make the training any easier. Complaints won't make the goose go away. And yet, somehow, you pull it together. You do it again, and your arrow finds its mark this time. The goose squawks and takes off, flying away like it's just realized it's not the only one in this field. Though tired and soaked to the bone, the archers around you nod in approval. For a moment, you feel like you've earned something. Maybe not much, but something. And that's enough for now. The rest of the day is just as miserable. More drills, more arrows, more sore muscles. But you know there's no other way. There's no easy path here. There's no escaping the pain, the rain, or the cold. The only thing that matters is surviving, one shot at a time. Because at the end of the day, you're not just training to be an archer, you're training to stay alive. And that, in this world, is all that matters. The early morning light is dim, struggling to break through the thick clouds hanging low over the camp. The chill in the air is biting, and every breath feels like it's pulled from the ice depths. The ground beneath you is a muddy swamp, a product of last night's rainstorm, turning every step into a battle against the earth that seems to want to suck you in. But there's no time to waste. You've learned to push through it, to ignore the discomfort, because there's no other choice in a place like this. You force yourself to sit up in your bedroll, and immediately your body protests. Every muscle feels tight and sore from the training days and the constant effort of lifting your bow and drawing the string. The night didn't provide any comfort. Your makeshift bed, a pile of hay stuffed into a sack, doesn't even come close to offering the rest your body desperately craves. The smell of the damp hay and the stale air fills your nostrils, a harsh reminder of the conditions you've been living in for months. You glance around. Harold is still curled up in his blanket, snoring away, blissfully unaware of the struggle awaiting everyone outside. On the other hand, Lucian is already up, sitting cross-legged and sharpening his longbow with the precision of someone who's been doing it for years. His face is focused, but something about how he works almost makes you feel guilty. His discipline is a stark contrast to your exhaustion, but you shake it off. There is no time to be distracted by his endless energy. Today will be just as brutal as the last, and the only way to survive is to keep moving and pushing. Outside, the sounds of camp life begin to stir, the crackling of the fire, the clang of armor being adjusted, and the low murmurs of soldiers waking up and preparing for the day. You feel the familiar weight of dread settles in. It's another day of training, with more arrows to shoot and more drills that will drain your last bit of energy. And then, just like every other day, it'll start again tomorrow. You rise slowly, trying not to let your body collapse under exhaustion. Every movement feels like a test of will, but you push through. The chill hits you immediately as you step outside your tent, soaking through your wool tunic and biting into your skin. The ground squelches beneath your boots as you walk toward the cooking fire. The camp cook, Tamsin, is already at work, stirring something in a pot that looks barely worth calling food. But it's the only food you'll get, so you don't complain. She hands you a bowl, and you look into it with little enthusiasm. The mixture is thin, watery, and gray, more like the remnants of a stew than anything resembling a proper meal. But you take it, as do the others. No one talks much during breakfast. It's not that they don't want to. It's just that there's no energy left for conversation, not when the day ahead will test every ounce of strength you have left. You eat silently, your stomach growling despite the food, your mind already preparing for what's coming next. Lord Everwin's nephew, Sir Osbert, strides around the camp, barking orders with that ridiculous feathered helmet perched on his head. His arrogance is evident to everyone here, but no one dares speak against him. He's in charge, at least he thinks he is. The archers, though, know better. They know the real battle isn't with him. It's with the endless cycle of training, the constant effort to push yourself harder and faster, no matter how much your body begs you to stop. The rain begins again, this time heavier, falling in sheets that soak you to the bone. The camp becomes a soggy mess, and every movement becomes harder as the mud clings to your boots. You follow the rest of the archers to the training field, a patch of land that's barely visible under the thick layer of water collecting everywhere. The targets are set up but look more like drowned rats than practice dummies. The rain doesn't care about your discomfort. It doesn't care about anything. It falls relentlessly until everything is wet and heavy and impossible to ignore. And then there's the goose, the damn goose that has claimed the target area as its own. It waddles around, honking every time someone dares approach the target. You can't help but laugh at its absurdity. A goose, a farm animal, in the way of your practice. But that's how it is here. Nothing is easy. Nothing is straightforward. You deal with the obstacles, whether made of flesh or feathers, and today it's feathers. Bows up, Sir Osbert commands, his voice cutting through the sound of the rain and the laughter from the other archers. It's time to practice. It's time to pretend you're not exhausted and haven't been doing this for an eternity. You take your bow in hand, its familiar weight somehow comforting, even though it feels like a burden at the same time. You draw the string back, the muscles in your arms screaming for relief, but no relief can be found. You focus on the target, the goose still waddling aimlessly, oblivious to the tension in the air. You let the arrow fly. It sails through the air, but the goose gets in the way. Your arrow narrowly misses it, but the bird takes flight, squawking in annoyance as it flaps away into the downpour. You don't even have time to be frustrated. You just reset, draw again, and take aim. This time, the shot is clean. The arrow hits the target with a satisfying thud, and you let out a breath you didn't even realize you were holding. For a moment, it feels like a small victory, but it's a fleeting one. Sir Osbert moves down the line, inspecting each archer's form with a look of disdain. He stops before you, eyeing your wet tunic and soaked boots, but he says nothing. Instead, he moves on, leaving you with the familiar taste of frustration and relief in equal measure. The rest of the day is a blur of arrows, mud, and exhaustion. Every shot feels like a small victory, but every muscle in your body screams at you to stop. You can't, though. You've learned that stopping isn't an option in a place like this. The only thing that matters is surviving. And you survive by pushing through, even when every part of you wants to collapse into the mud. By evening, your body is one big ache, and your fingers feel like they might fall off from the constant strain. But you've made it. You've gotten through another day of endless drills and endless discomfort. Tomorrow, it will be the same, and the day after that. But for now, you lie down in your damp bedroll, too tired to think, too exhausted to care about anything other than that you've survived. For today, that's enough. The rain doesn't stop. It's been hours now, and the camp is slowly sinking into the earth. Every step you take, every breath you draw, is filled with that cold, damp feeling that never truly leaves you. You try to focus, to shake off the nagging ache in your body, but it's hard when everything around you is a struggle. The mud, the rain, the weight of the bow, each one is a constant reminder of just how unforgiving this life is. You glance around at your fellow archers. Godric is grumbling again, muttering curses, but you don't blame him. There's not much left to say at this point. Exhaustion is evident on every face in the camp. Some of the younger archers, like Willett, are trying to push through, but even his usual goofy energy is starting to fade. His bowstring looks like it's about to snap, and you know it's not from the wear and tear of the bow, but the wear and tear of his mind. You take a deep breath, trying to center yourself. The drizzle is turning into a downpour, drenching your tunic, boots, and every exposed part of your body. It's the kind of rain that doesn't let up and seems to get deeper into your skin with each passing moment. But you have no choice. You have to keep moving. You've learned that here. The rain doesn't stop you. You stop you. As you prepare to head back out to the practice field, you catch sight of Lucian again. He's always the first one to be up. Always the first one to be ready for battle. There's a determination in his eyes, one that's contagious, even though it's not something you'd ever admit to him. If anyone will leave here without losing their mind, it's Lucian. He's relentless, the kind of person who doesn't know how to stop. But even he's slowing down. Once sharp and precise, his movements are now slower and more deliberate. It's the kind of fatigue you can't ignore. It's the kind that eats at your soul. But, like everyone else, you push forward. The camp is filling with the sounds of preparation, the clatter of arrows, and adjusting armor. Sir Osbert is busy barking orders, his feathered helmet sitting atop his head like a ridiculous crown. It makes you sick to look at him. He's not here to fight, not really. He's here because it's expected because of his bloodline. But for the rest of you, this is life and death. This is about survival, not some far-off fantasy of glory. The rain continues, relentless. The archery range is now barely visible, a gray and brown blur. The targets barely stand, the soaked straw looking more like a pile of rotting refuse than anything you could aim at. But you don't have the luxury of turning back. The order is given, and you have to follow. "Bows up," Sir Osbert commands, his voice cutting through the wet air, sharp and cutting like the crack of a whip. He doesn't even wait for a response. You and the others draw your bows in unison, a single, coordinated movement that feels almost mechanical. Your arms feel like lead, the weight of the bow, unbearable after hours of practice, but you pull back the string anyway. You know it's coming. Another round of arrows. It's another attempt at hitting a target that doesn't even seem real anymore. The rain hits your face in sharp, stinging bursts, but you focus. You have to concentrate. The first arrow flies, and it's a good shot. It hits the target with a satisfying thud, but you know better than to let yourself get comfortable. You can't afford to get cocky. Godric shoots next, his arrow missing by a mile. The frustration is evident on his face, his brow furrowed in annoyance, but no one speaks up. You can't afford to show weakness, not now. You don't comment on his missed shot. You don't comment on your own. There's nothing to say, not when the rain won't stop. not when the mud is creeping up to your ankles and making every step feel like you're wading through quicksand. And then there's the goose. It's back. It's just as annoying as the last time. It waddles around the practice range, utterly oblivious that there are actual targets for you to focus on. You can't help but laugh at its absurdity. A goose, a farm animal, in the way of your practice. But today, you can't afford to laugh. You can't afford to be distracted. The goose doesn't care about your frustration. It doesn't care about your fatigue. Like everything else, it exists in this miserable, relentless world. You draw your bow again, trying not to think about how your fingers are starting to cramp and how your arms are shaking with the effort. You can feel the tension building in your shoulders, but you can't stop. You can't stop until the shot is perfect. The target's in front of you. You focus on the bullseye, blocking the thought of the wet ground beneath you, the cold sinking into your bones. Your fingers pull the string back and your breath steady. You release. The arrow flies and for a moment time slows down. You watch it slice through the air, its path almost beautiful in its precision. The target is in range. It's coming closer. Your heart pounds as you watch it strike, hitting dead center. It's a perfect shot. You let out a breath you didn't know you were holding. For just a moment, you feel like you've done something right. But it's short-lived, because Sir Osbert is already moving down the line, inspecting each of you with a scrutinizing eye. He stops in front of you, eyes narrowing as he examines your form, your wet tunic, the way your body is barely holding together. He doesn't say a word. He moves on, and that's how it goes. Another shot, another missed opportunity, and another moment where you try to convince yourself that it's all worth it. The rain doesn't stop. It keeps falling, just as relentless as the tasks you face. Your body is exhausted. Your mind is exhausted. But you keep going. You shoot again. You aim. You hit the target. You miss. You try again. It's the same routine, day in and day out. But there's a strange comfort in the repetition, because no matter how tired you are or how much you want to collapse, you can't stop. You're here to survive, and maybe, just maybe, a tiny part of you believes that one day it will all pay off, that one day you'll hit the mark when it matters. For now, though, you're stuck in the rain with the mud, the endless training, and the goose. And somehow, that's all you need to keep going. The rain hasn't let up for hours. It pounds relentlessly on your back, seeps through your tunic, and chills you down to the bone. The mud underfoot is thick and heavy, sucking at your boots with every step you take, dragging you down deeper into the muck. Each movement feels like a battle, a struggle against the elements that won't relent. You try not to think about the weight of the bow in your hand, the strain in your arms, or the cold that gnaws at your skin. You focus on the target ahead, but it's hard. Everything feels harder today. The camp is quiet except for the constant noise of the rain and the occasional clink of armor as others prepare for the day's training. Godric looks like he's about to collapse, his eyes sunken, and his face grimace of exhaustion. Even Lucian, who usually exudes quiet confidence, seems moving slower today. His fingers fumble with his bowstring, and the fatigue is evident in how he pulls back the string, but he pushes through it, just like everyone else. There's no room for weakness here. No one can afford to fall behind. You glance around as you gather your things and prepare to move to the practice field. Harold is already grumbling under his breath about the rain, shaking his head as he tightens the straps on his quiver. No one says much, though. It's pointless to complain. The rain won't stop, and neither will the training. Sir Osbert is already barking orders from the far end of the camp, his voice cutting through the air like a whip. You pull your cloak tighter, the wet fabric sticking to your skin. The air smells of moist earth and wood, heavy with moisture. Every part of you feels damp, cold, and uncomfortable, but that's how it is. The rain doesn't care about your discomfort, just like the training doesn't care how tired you are. It doesn't care if you're sore, hungry, or soaked to the bone. The only thing that matters is whether you can keep going or draw that bow and hit your mark. The practice field, if you can even call it that, is barely visible through the downpour. The targets are barely standing, half submerged in puddles, and the straw that makes them up is soaked and sagging. It's a mess, but that's nothing new. In a world like this, nothing is ever easy. The rain only makes it more complicated, but that's the point. It's not supposed to be easy. Sir Osbert calls for everyone to line up. His voice cuts through the noise of the rain like a whip, and you can hear his boots splashing through the puddles as he moves down the line, inspecting the archers. The rain makes everything feel surreal, as if the world were blurry around you. You pull your bowstring back, ignoring the numbness creeping into your fingers. The goose, as usual, is waddling around near the targets, honking in protest every time someone dares to approach. It's ridiculous, but in this world, you've learned to take whatever distractions come your way. You don't have the luxury of being annoyed. You focus. Bows up! Sir Osbert commands everyone to fall into position. You grip the bow, the weight of which is familiar, yet today it feels heavier. Your fingers are numb from the cold, and it takes effort to steady the bow in your hands. The target is in front of you, a faded outline of something that once resembled a bullseye. You take a deep breath, focusing on your aim. The world around you seems to fall away for a moment. It's just you, your bow, and the target. You draw the string back, your arms trembling with the effort. The rain continues to pour, each drop stinging your face, but you don't let it distract you. You focus on the target, on your shot, and you release. The arrow flies, but it's not perfect. It hits the target, but it's off-center. It's not enough to satisfy you, but sufficient to keep Sir Osbert from reprimanding you. He's already moving down the line, inspecting the next archer, his eyes cold and unblinking. Godric follows, his arrow missing the target by several feet, and you can feel the tension ripple through the camp. No one says anything, but you can tell the frustration is building. The rain keeps falling, drenching everyone to the bone, but the pressure never stops. The bowstring feels like it's made of stone in your hands, and you're sure your arms will give out any second. But you keep pulling, you keep shooting. There's no other choice. Lucien takes his turn, and as usual, his shot is near perfect. His arrow strikes the center of the target with an effortless precision that seems almost unfair, but you can't let it discourage you. He's always been better than the rest of you, and watching him never gets easier. But today, something's different. Even his movements seem slower, more deliberate. He's not the machine he used to be. He's human, just like the rest of you, and today the rain is making sure you all feel it. The goose honks again, waddling around the targets like it owns the place, but no one dares to move it. It's just part of the madness that's become your reality. Everything here feels like a game, an endless struggle, exhaustion, and survival cycle. The rain is an enemy you can't fight. The exhaustion is a weight you can't shake off, and the only thing you can do is keep going. The goose and the weather don't care, and neither does Sir Osbert. All that matters is whether you can make that shot. Another round begins. You draw your bow again, the strain in your arms intensifying with every shot. The wind is picking up, making it harder to steady the string. Your fingers are numb now, but you keep going. You've trained for this. You've been preparing for this moment, this life, for what feels like forever. You shoot again. The arrow flies true, striking the target with a satisfying thud. It's not perfect, but it's better. And right now, that's enough. The rain doesn't stop. It never stops. You don't stop either. You shoot, you miss, you hit, you keep moving, you keep going, because that's all you can do. And maybe, just maybe, in a world like this, that's enough. The rain shows no sign of relenting, the sky seemingly locked in a permanent downpour. You'd almost forgotten what it felt like to be dry. Your tunic is heavy with water, clinging to your body like a second skin, and the chill of the wet fabric cuts deep, making every breath feel sharp in your lungs. The ground beneath you is an endless mire of mud, each step a battle against the sucking, heavy earth. It's the kind of weather that saps the will to fight and eats away at your strength and resolve, but you can't afford to let it get to you. The rain may drown you, the mud may pull you down, but you can't stop. You have to keep moving. Every muscle in your body is sore. You can feel the strain in your shoulders from drawing your bow repeatedly, the tension in your arms that doesn't seem to fade no matter how many times you release the string. Your fingers are stiff from the cold, aching from the constant work, but there's no time to rest. There is no time to complain. The targets are waiting, the arrows are ready, and Sir Osbert is watching, waiting for you to miss, waiting for you to slip up, waiting for you to show any sign of weakness. You glance at the other archers, trying to gauge how they're holding up. Lucian, who's always been the most reliable of the lot, is moving with the same precision as ever. His arrows are hitting the mark, one after another, despite the miserable conditions. But even he can't escape the weight of exhaustion hanging over all of you. There's something in his eyes, a flicker of doubt, a recognition that even the most skilled are human and that the rain and the cold will eventually catch up with everyone. Harold is still struggling, his bowstring trembling as he tries to steady his shot. His face is tight with frustration, like each release more erratic than the last. He misses the target again, his arrow flying wide. You can't help but feel for him. You know how it feels to be so far past your limit that even the most straightforward task feels impossible. You've been there yourself, and you can see it in his eyes. He's starting to crack. But you say nothing. There's no room for words here. Words won't fix this. Words won't save you from the storm, the endless repetition of shots, or the relentless weight of this life. Godric quietly mutters under his breath, his arrows landing a little closer to the target each time, but never quite making it. You can see the frustration building in him, his face reddening with the effort, the strain of trying to do something that should be easy and second nature. But it's not. None of this is easy. None of it ever will be. The rain makes every shot feel like a gamble. Each one a roll of the dice, and the odds are never in your favor. The goose naturally is back. It waddles around the targets, oblivious that this is supposed to be a place for practice. Its honking cuts through the stillness of the rain, a constant reminder of how absurd this situation is. You can't help but wonder if it's mocking you, if it's somehow aware of the tension in the air, the way your arms are shaking from the weight of the bow and the relentless rain. But there's no time to dwell on it. The goose doesn't care if you're exhausted, your shot is shaky, or the storm is worsening. It's just there, walking around, disrupting your focus. Bows up! Sir Osbert commands again, his voice piercing the air like thunder. It's a sharp, commanding sound that cuts through the rain, dragging you out of your thoughts and back to the target. You pull the bowstring back, but it feels heavier this time, as if the string is soaking in the rain and becoming too wet to work correctly. Your fingers slip slightly as you grip the string, but you don't have time to adjust. The arrow must fly. You let go. The arrow flies, but it doesn't hit the target. It veers off to the side, missing by a wide margin. Your stomach sinks, but you don't have time to dwell on it. You reset and draw again. You focus. You block out the rain. You push through the muscle ache and the cold gnawing at you. You release. This time, the arrow hits its mark. It strikes dead center, the sound of the impact cutting through the constant noise of the storm. For a moment, you feel the briefest flicker of relief, the tiniest sliver of pride, but it's fleeting. You know it doesn't matter. One shot doesn't make a difference. You'll need to hit that target 100 more times before you prove anything. You have to keep going. You can't stop. You reset your stance, draw the string again, and fire. The rain continues to fall, but it's coming down in sheets like the sky is trying to drown you. The ground is treacherous, and each step might be your last. Your legs begin to feel weak, and your back aches from hours of drawing, releasing, and repeating the process. But you push through it. There's no other choice. The target is still out there, waiting. The bowstring feels about to snap under the strain, but you can't stop. The next shot has to be better. The next shot will be better. Lucian releases his shot, and this time, it's perfect. The arrow strikes the center of the target with unerring precision. He doesn't even flinch, doesn't pause to admire his work. He moves on to the next shot, his focus unwavering. You can't help but admire him, even though it stings a little. He's always been better than you, and he always seemed to be able to push through the pain and the exhaustion. But even he is starting to slow down. You notice his fingers tremble slightly as he pulls the string back. You see the slight droop in his posture, the subtle signs that even the best can't outrun the toll this life is taking on them. Sir Osbert is still walking the line, inspecting each archer's form with his cold, unfeeling gaze. He stops before Godric, eyeing him like he's checking a piece of meat at the market. There's no encouragement, no words of reassurance, just silence. You can feel Godric's frustration building, its weight heavy in the air. He's trying, but it's not enough. And you can tell that Sir Osbert doesn't care. He never does. To him, failure is just another reason to push harder. There's no room for weakness here. The goose honks again, oblivious to the tension in the air. It waddles back and forth, its beady eyes gleaming in the rain. You almost wish you could take it out with one shot to make the absurd situation disappear. But that's not what this is about. You have to focus. You have to keep drawing, keep aiming, keep shooting. And so you do. Each shot feels like a small victory. The rain continues to fall, the mud clings to your boots, and the exhaustion weighs you down. But you shoot, you release, you reset again and again, because that's all you can do. You're here to survive, endure, and prove that you can push through this. You may be soaked and exhausted, but you're still here. And that, for now, is enough. The rain continues its unrelenting assault, washing over the camp and soaking everything in sight. The earth beneath you is now a sticky, treacherous muck that pulls at your boots with every step. Each movement is more laborious than the last, and the cold that seeps into your skin feels more like a constant companion than an inconvenience. You can feel it gnawing at your bones, trying to break your resolve. It's been hours, but you can't stop now. Not when the rain is as persistent as your will to survive. You glance around at your fellow archers, each carrying the same burden you feel, their faces drawn, tired, and soaked. Ever the disciplined, Lucien doesn't seem to notice the weather as much. His bow remains steady, his posture straight, and he keeps shooting precisely despite the exhaustion weighing on him. But there's a slight tremor in his hand as he draws the string, a small sign that even the best can't escape the fatigue this life brings. You try not to let it get to you, but it's hard to ignore the dull throb in your arms and the heaviness in your legs. You know it's only a matter of time before it catches up with you. Godric, as always, is trying to hold it together. His face is grim and his movements are more sluggish than usual. He shoots, but the arrows miss the target by a wide margin. The frustration is evident on his face, but he doesn't say anything. There's no time for words here. Just the sound of the bowstrings being pulled, the arrows flying, and the steady rhythm of it all. But even Godric, who usually hides his weariness behind gruff silence, shows signs of cracking. It's only a matter of time before the exhaustion takes its toll on him. You can feel your body fighting against you now. The cold makes everything feel slow, the wet tunic clinging to your skin as if trying to hold you in place. You pull your bowstring back, but your arms feel like they're made of stone. The rain pelts your face, blurring your vision, but you force yourself to focus. The target is blurry in the distance, and its outline is barely visible through the downpour. But it doesn't matter. You can't afford to miss it. Not today. The command comes again from Sir Osbert, his voice cutting through the thick air like a knife. Bows up! You and the others respond in unison, but not the same. The bow's weight feels heavier, your fingers more numb, and your body more drained than when you first started. The arrow flies, and for a moment you think it might hit, but it's off-center, just enough to make you feel the sting of failure. You reset, again and again. Each time you pull back the string, it feels like more effort than the last, but you can't stop. You can't afford to. You're here to prove something to yourself, make it through this, and show that you're not just another name in the mud, another person swallowed by the storm. The rain continues, relentless, but you keep going. One more shot, one more attempt. You draw your bow again, your fingers numb, your arms screaming in protest. The target is still there, still waiting. Lucien releases another perfect shot, and for a moment, you can't help but feel a flicker of jealousy. But it's quickly buried under the weight of your exhaustion. His arrow strikes the center of the target, as usual. The sound of it hitting the wood is like a small, distant victory. But you don't have the luxury of feeling defeated. The rain isn't going to stop. The mud isn't going to disappear magically, and neither is the constant pressure of Sir Osbert's gaze, cold and unyielding as it scans over each of you. There's no room for mistakes. Not here. You take another shot. The arrow lands closer to the bullseye this time, but it's still imperfect. Your body is shaking now, the bow's weight almost too much to bear. Your fingers feel like they might snap from the strain, but you keep going. It's not about the perfection of the shot, it's about the consistency, the effort, the determination. You reset again, draw your bow, and fire. It's a good shot, but not good enough. The goose still waddles around, honking every time someone releases an arrow. It's absurd, almost laughable. But it's also a perfect reflection of this situation. The absurdity of everything, the way everything feels like it's working against you. A goose, of all things, is in your way. But you can't focus on that. You can't let it distract you. You pull back the string again, focusing on the target, ignoring the rain, ignoring the goose. You release, and this time your arrow hits. It's not perfect, but it's a hit. You breathe out, a slight sense of relief washing over you. But there's no time to celebrate. Sir Osbert is already moving down the line, inspecting each archer's form. He stops in front of Harold, who's still struggling. He's missed several shots in a row now, and the frustration is clearly building in him. You can see the tension in his posture and the tightness around his eyes, but he doesn't say anything. There's no point. Words won't change anything. Sir Osbert doesn't care about the reasons behind the misses. He doesn't care about the exhaustion. All he cares about is whether or not you hit the target. The hours on, the rain never ceasing, the mud never letting up. It feels like an endless cycle, one shot after another, each more tiring than the last. You start to lose track of time, the hours blending, the rain becoming a constant background noise, and the sound of the arrows flying. Your body aches, your fingers ache, your mind is foggy with fatigue, but you keep shooting. You have no choice. It's all you can do. Draw, aim, release, reset. You look around at the others. Godric still stands tall, his shots not quite hitting the mark, but his determination is unwavering. Lucian shoots another perfect arrow, and for a moment you envy his focus, but you push it aside. There's no room for envy here. There's only room for survival, and you won't stop until you've made it through this. You shoot again. This time the arrow lands closer to the bullseye. It's a small victory, but it's enough. You reset, and you keep going. The rain keeps falling, but you keep shooting because that's what you do. The hours go on, and you're starting to lose counts. Your arms are weak, your fingers stiff, but you can't stop. The rain doesn't stop, the mud doesn't stop, and neither will you. The rain hasn't stopped, not even for a second, and it's beginning to feel like it never will. Every inch of you is soaked through, and the chill that comes with the dampness settles deep in your bones. The constant patter of the rain on your hood and armor has become a background hum, blending with the sound of the mud sucking at your boots with each step. The wetness, the weight of the bow, the cold, all part of the never-ending battle to keep going, to keep shooting. You can't afford to stop now, not with everything riding on this. Every shot and arrow is a test, not just of your skill, but of your endurance and will to survive. Your arms ache. It feels like they've been pulled tight like strings, the muscles protesting with every move. You reach up, wiping the water from your face, only to have another wave of rain replace it immediately. It's relentless. But it's not the rain that's the real problem. It's the exhaustion. You can feel the fatigue creeping into your mind, clouding your thoughts, making it harder to focus. The bow feels heavier, and the target seems farther away than it did this morning. But you push through it because you have no other choice. You're not here for the comfort. You're here to prove that you can endure and keep fighting when every part of you is screaming to stop. The camp is quiet now, except for the sounds of the storm and the occasional call of Sir Osbert, barking orders to the archers. He's still walking down the line, inspecting everyone's shots, his expression as cold as ever. His eyes flick from one archer to the next, not showing a hint of approval or disappointment, just a mechanical assessment of each shot, each miss, each moment of failure. It doesn't matter to him that you're all soaking wet, that the rain is so thick you can barely see the target. He wants results. Perfection. It's as if nothing else matters in his world, and the truth is, it doesn't. You either meet the standard or you don't. And right now, that's all that matters. You draw your bow again, your fingers stiff from the cold, but you do it anyway. You focus on the target, ignoring the rain falling into your eyes. Your body is protesting every movement, every pull of the string. You let the arrow fly, but it's off. It's wide, too far to the left, and the thud of the arrow hitting the ground just outside the target feels like a punch to the gut. You breathe in, steady yourself, and reset. No time to dwell on the miss. You pull the string back again, the muscles in your arms screaming with each pull. You release. This time it's better. It hits the edge of the target, but it's not perfect. You exhale slowly, trying to push down the frustration building inside you. This isn't the time to get angry. This isn't the time to fall apart. Lucian takes his turn, his movements still fluid, still controlled despite the conditions. The arrow leaves his bow with a speed and precision that makes it look effortless, striking the center of the target as if the rain and the mud weren't even there. You can't help but feel the sting of envy, but it's brief. You push it aside. Lucian is Lucian, and you're you. You can't compare. All you can do is keep going and moving through the pain, fatigue, and endless rain. You watch as he prepares for another shot, his focus never wavering, but the exhaustion is also beginning to show in his eyes. He's tired. You can see it in how he holds himself and blinks slowly, as if every movement requires a little more effort than before. You take your next shot, and it's better. Not perfect, but close. It's a small victory, but barely enough to keep you going. The target is still out there. The rain's still pouring, the mud sticking to your boots like it's trying to drag you into the earth. The storm is relentless, but so are you. You reset your stance, draw your bow again, and release. This time, the arrow strikes the target squarely. It's a solid hit, and you feel a flicker of pride for a brief moment, but there's no time to savor it. Sir Osbert is already moving down the line, inspecting your shot with his usual detached indifference. He barely nods in approval before moving on, his eyes already on the next archer. There's no recognition, no reward, just the cold, hard expectation that you'll do it again. You'll do it again. You'll do it better. The rain shows no sign of stopping. It's soaking into your skin and soul, turning everything into a gray blur. The targets are starting to look more like ghostly figures in the distance, fading into the mist of the storm. You can barely see the outline of the bullseye, but you know it's there. It has to be. You can't let the conditions defeat you. You can't let the exhaustion take over. There's nothing left to do but shoot, again and again. Godric releases an arrow, but it flies wide, missing the target completely. You can see his frustration, shoulders tense and jaw clenched, but he doesn't say anything. He doesn't need to. The disappointment is evident in his stance, in how he resets his posture and draws again. He shoots again. This time, it's closer, but not close enough. You can hear him muttering under his breath, words you can't quite catch, but you know what they mean. It's the same frustration you feel in your gut, the constant pressure to do better and be better, even when your body is betraying you. You feel the tension in your chest as you pull back the string again, the strain in your arms making every shot feel like a battle. But you don't stop. You can't. You focus on the target again, blocking out everything else. The rain, the exhaustion, the ache in your fingers. You breathe in, pull the string back, and release. The arrow flies, and it's a clean hit right in the center of the target. It's not perfect, but it's enough to keep you from falling apart. You can't afford to let the frustration take over. Not now. Not with everything hanging in the balance. The hours drag on, each one feeling longer than the last. The rain keeps falling, and every shot feels like a victory against the odds. But you don't stop. Not when the target is still there, still waiting. Not when Sir Osbert is still inspecting every shot looking for any sign of weakness. Not when Lucian shoots with effortless precision and Godric tries again, each shot another attempt to reach perfection. You keep going, because that's all you can do. You draw, you aim, you release, again and again. The rain has become a constant, unyielding presence, soaking through every inch of clothing, making the world feel heavier, more oppressive with each passing hour. You can feel the cold seeping deeper, turning your skin to ice, and no matter how tightly you pull your cloak around you, the wetness won't leave. The sound of the rain pounding down is deafening, drowning out everything else. The rustling of the camp, the crackling of the fire, even the faint, almost imperceptible groans from the other archers as they trudge through the muck. It's relentless. Just like the training, just like the expectations. You glance around at your fellow archers. Lucian is still standing tall, his bow drawn with the precision of a seasoned warrior, but even his movements have slowed. You can see the weariness in his eyes now, the subtle droop of his shoulders. It's impossible to hide it any longer. The toll of this constant struggle is visible in all of you, whether you admit it or not. Harold is still pushing through, But his shots are growing more erratic, his movements more sluggish. He's missing targets now, the frustration building with each failed attempt, but no one speaks a word. Not here. Not now. There's no room for weakness. Not when the pressure from Sir Osbert is as relentless as the storm. The man's presence looms over the camp like a shadow. Sir Osbert doesn't speak much, but when he does, it's sharp, commanding, and cold. His eyes cut through the line of archers, scrutinizing every movement, every shot. There's no praise, no recognition. Only that cold, calculating gaze that makes you feel like a failure even when you've done everything right. You know that he sees no difference between you and the mud beneath your feet. It's all the same to him. Expendable. You draw your bow again, your fingers numb and stiff, struggling to grip the string, but you pull it back anyway. The target is barely visible now, the outline of it shrouded by the sheets of rain. It's becoming harder to see anything clearly, harder to keep your focus, but that doesn't matter. The shot must be made. You have no choice. Your breath catches in your chest as you release the string, and for a moment, everything slows down. The arrow flies, but it's off. Just to the left of the target. Your stomach sinks, but there's no time to dwell on it. You can't afford to. Reset. Draw again. Another shot. This time you can't miss. You pull back the string again, but this time it feels different. Your body feels heavier, your mind clouded by the constant fatigue. The rain is relentless, pounding against your face, your chest, your bow, but you focus. You breathe. You let the arrow fly. It strikes the target, not dead center, but close enough. You breathe out a sigh of relief, but it's short-lived. You know that one shot doesn't matter. One hit doesn't change anything. Not in a world where perfection is demanded, where every failure feels like it will be your last. Lucien releases his shot, and as always, it's perfect. His arrow finds the center of the target with ease, his form steady, unwavering. You watch him for a moment, a flicker of envy stirring in your chest, but you push it aside. There's no room for that here. No room for comparisons. Not now. You focus on your own shot, your own goal. You reset once more, pull back the string, and release. The rain continues to fall, but you can't let it distract you. You shoot again. Godric takes his turn, his shot off center, but not by much. The frustration is clear in his face, his clenched fists as he tries to steady his bow for the next round. You can feel it too. The pressure, the exhaustion. It's all around you now, seeping into your bones, wrapping around your chest like a vice. You try to ignore it, but it's impossible. You've been here too long. You've been through too many days like this, and it's starting to feel like there's no end in sight. Sir Osbert moves down the line, inspecting each archer's shot with a look of disappointment that makes you feel like you're failing before you even have the chance to try. His presence is stifling, suffocating. You can feel the weight of his gaze on your back as he stops in front of you. You reset your stance, take a deep breath, and draw the string back once more. The bow feels heavier now, the pull more difficult. Your fingers are stiff, your arms sore, but you don't stop. You can't. The rain is louder now, a steady drumbeat that matches the pounding in your head. Everything is soaked. Your tunic is heavy with water, your boots are weighed down by the mud. You can barely see the target in the distance, but it's still there. You focus on it, block out everything else. The goose waddles by, oblivious to the chaos around it, and for a brief moment, it almost feels like everything is mocking you. The absurdity of it all, the impossibility of this life. But then you remember, you don't have time for doubt, you don't have time for anything but survival. So you reset again and you shoot. Your arrow flies. It hits the target, not perfectly, but it lands. Another small victory, another shot down, another step toward proving you can survive this. But the victory is fleeting. You don't have time to celebrate. There's always another shot to take, another test to pass. And so you take another deep breath and prepare for the next one. Lucien releases another arrow, and once again, it strikes dead center. His accuracy is flawless, and you can't help but wonder how he does it. How he can keep shooting like this, in the rain, in the mud, while the rest of you are barely hanging on. It's not fair. But again, there's no room for fairness here. No room for weakness. Only shots. Only survival. The rain keeps falling, the wind picking up, making it harder to aim, harder to stay focused. But you don't stop. You can't. You reset, you draw, and you release. The shot is good. It's enough, and for now, that's all you can ask for. You breathe, a steady rhythm against the storm. The pressure may be building, the exhaustion may be taking its toll, but you shoot again, and you keep going, because that's all you can do. The rain doesn't stop, it never will, but neither will you. The storm rages on, its fury unwavering, as relentless as the days before it. The rain keeps falling, a constant deluge that soaks through every layer of clothing, seeping into the very core of you. The wind howls, pushing against you as you take each step, as though the world itself is trying to drag you down into the mud. It's a suffocating, unyielding environment. You feel your energy draining, your body beginning to revolt with every draw of the bow. The weight of the arrow feels heavier with each release. The string feels tighter with each pull. But you can't stop. Not now. Not when everything you've worked for is hanging by a thread. You glance around at the other archers, each of them pushing through their own battle with exhaustion. Lucian, still ever precise, shoots with the same deadly accuracy as always. His arrow finds its mark without hesitation, as if the storm is nothing more than a minor inconvenience. But you can see the smallest tremor in his fingers, the faintest sign that even he is starting to feel the toll of this ceaseless struggle. The storm has tested all of you, and it shows. Godric, once a model of stoic determination, is now moving slower, his form beginning to falter with every shot. His arrows are missing the target by a little more each time, and the frustration is palpable. You can see it in the set of his jaw, in the way his shoulders tighten after every failed attempt. He doesn't speak. He doesn't have to. The pressure is there for all of you to feel. Harold, always full of energy, is beginning to show the cracks. His movements are becoming more uncertain, the tremor in his hands more pronounced with every shot. He misses, then resets. He tries again and again and again, but with each miss, it's clear. The storm is starting to break him. Still, he doesn't speak. None of you do. There's no room for words. Just the steady rhythm of the bowstring, the sound of arrows hitting targets or falling short. And then there's Sir Osbert. His presence is like a weight that never lifts. He walks down the line, his gaze cold, unflinching, like a hawk assessing its prey. His silence is more oppressive than any shout could ever be. Every shot, every missed attempt feels like a failure under the weight of his eyes. You know he sees no difference between you and the storm. Both are forces to be conquered. Both are things to be endured. But you can't afford to think about him. You can't afford to think about anything but the next shot. You draw your bow again, and for a moment, everything slows down. The world fades away, and it's just you, your bow, and the target. The arrow flies, hitting the target, but it's not perfect. It's close, but not enough to satisfy. The rain is still pouring, relentless as ever, but you reset, draw again, and shoot once more. Each shot is a battle. Each one feels harder than the last, but you keep going, because that's what you have to do. No one expects perfection here. The rain won't stop, and neither will you. The goose waddles by, oblivious to the chaos of your training. You can't help but smile, despite everything. It's absurd, it's ridiculous, but it's a small moment of light in an otherwise overwhelming world. You shoot again, and this time the arrow lands closer to the bullseye. Not perfect, but better. Another small victory in a world that offers very few. You don't stop, you don't rest, you reset and shoot again and again. The exhaustion is pulling at you, the rain is soaking into your skin, but you keep going. Lucian releases another perfect shot as always, and the small flicker of envy returns. But this isn't about him. This is about you. You can't afford to compare yourself to others, not now. All that matters is the next shot, the next chance. One more shot, you reset, draw, and release. The arrow finds the target again. It's not perfect, but it's enough. For now, that's enough. Godric misses again. Harold hesitates, but you keep going. You draw, aim, release. The rain continues, the wind howls, and the world spins on, indifferent to your struggle. But you don't stop, you keep going. Because survival isn't about perfection, it's about enduring, and you will. You will keep going until the storm is over, you reset, you draw, you release, you survive. The storm rages on, unyielding, its endless assault turning the world into a smudge of gray, mud, and water. The sound of the rain, unrelenting and deafening, drowns everything else out until it feels like there's only the pounding of the storm and the weight of your exhaustion. Each breath feels heavier than the last, your chest tightening with the cold that seeps deeper and deeper into your bones. Your body feels like it's slowly giving in, every muscle aching from the strain, every joint screaming in protest, but still, you don't stop. You can't. You glance around at the others. Lucian is still a machine, his form steady, his arrows hitting their mark with the precision of someone who has spent years perfecting this craft. But even his flawless technique is starting to show signs of strain. There's a slight tremor in his hands when he pulls back the string, his shoulders sagging ever so slightly with the weight of the storm. Still, he never falters. Godric is another story. His posture is rigid, his face a mask of frustration as his arrows veer off target more and more. You can see it in his movements, the way he grips his bow tighter as if trying to force perfection out of a body that's already at its breaking point. His frustration hangs in the air, a silent force that makes it impossible not to notice. Then there's Harold, once determined and sure, now his hands tremble as he tries to steady his aim. His shots are becoming more erratic with each passing minute, and you can see him biting back curses, fighting against the frustration that threatens to overwhelm him. The storm is a relentless opponent, and its weight is starting to crush him, just as it's crushing the rest of you. You feel it too. The exhaustion, the rain, the overwhelming weight of Sir Osbert's gaze. It presses on your chest, suffocating you with every passing second. His eyes are on you now, watching your every move, analyzing your every shot. There's no escape from his scrutiny. He doesn't care that the world is falling apart around you. He only cares about results, perfection. You reset, pull back the string, and release. The arrow flies, and it's close. Just a hair off center. You feel the disappointment rise up in your chest, but there's no time to wallow in it. The rain doesn't stop. The storm doesn't care about your frustration. It's still pouring, still relentless, still trying to drown you. You reset, again, draw, release. This time, it's better, closer to the mark. You allow yourself a brief moment of satisfaction, but it's fleeting. Sir Osbert's eyes are still on you, cold and unblinking, waiting for more. You reset, draw, and release again. Each time, it's a little better. Not perfect, never perfect, but it's enough. And in this storm, in this endless fight against the elements and your own fatigue, enough is all you can ask for. The goose honks again, waddling around near the target as if it owns the place, oblivious to the storm, oblivious to the struggle around it. It's absurd, but it also feels like a metaphor for everything. No matter how hard you push, how hard you fight, there are still distractions. There are still things that get in the way, but you can't let them stop you. You can't afford to let anything stop you. Lucian fires again, and once more his arrow hits dead center. It's perfect, effortless, as it always is. You feel the sting of envy, but you push it aside. There's no room for envy here. There's only room for survival. You reset, draw, release, and you keep going because that's all you can do. The hours drag on, but you don't stop. You shoot again and again, each shot a small victory. Each shot a defiance against the storm, against the exhaustion, against Sir Osbert's unspoken judgment. You reset, draw, release. The rain may never stop, the exhaustion may never fade, but you don't stop. You can't. The world may be soaked and miserable, but you're still here. And that for now is enough. You survive, you shoot, you reset, you keep, because in the end, that's all you can do. The storm rages on, unyielding, as though nature itself has declared a war of attrition against your will. The rain keeps falling, a ceaseless downpour that turns the camp into a quagmire, every step into a struggle against the earth itself. The chill of the rain creeps into your bones, each breath heavy with the wet, damp air. The weight of the bow grows with every draw, and the fatigue seeps deeper into your body, making each shot feel like a monumental task. Yet still, you draw, you aim, you release. You glance at the other archers, and it's clear that the storm is taking its toll on them as well. Lucian is still hitting the mark with his usual precision, but there's a subtle tremor in his hands now, a barely perceptible flicker of exhaustion in his eyes. Even the most skilled aren't immune to the weight of this endless barrage. Godric's frustration is palpable. His shots are growing more erratic, missing by wider margins with each attempt. You see the tension in his shoulders, the way his jaw tightens after every failed shot. The exhaustion is creeping up on him, and he's fighting it with everything he has, but it's starting to show. Harold is struggling the most. His movements have become slower, his shots more erratic, and each miss chips away at his confidence. You hear the frustration in his muttered curses, and you can see the toll it's taking. His hands are shaking slightly as he draws his bow, and his focus is slipping. Yet he doesn't stop. No one stops. The rain keeps coming, and so do the shots, each one a little less certain than the last. You reset your stance, your arms aching with every motion. The storm is relentless, and the weight of Sir Osbert's gaze feels heavier with every shot. His silence is the loudest thing in the camp, his disapproving stare colder than the wind. He doesn't speak. He doesn't need to. His eyes say everything. He's waiting for perfection, and anything less will not be tolerated. You know this. You feel the pressure building with every pull of the bowstring, but you can't let it break you. Not now. Not after everything you've endured. You draw again, the rain hitting your face, your body soaked to the core. The weight of the bow feels heavier, the string harder to pull. Your muscles protest, your body begging for respite, but you ignore it. You focus on the target, you release. The arrow flies, and this time it hits, not dead center, but close enough. You feel a small flicker of relief, but it's brief. Sir Osbert doesn't even pause to acknowledge it. There's no time for pride here, no time for satisfaction. Reset, draw, release. Lucian releases another perfect shot, hitting the target with flawless precision. The envy stirs inside you, but you push it down. This isn't about him. This is about you. You reset, aim, and release. The shot lands a little closer to the mark this time. Another small victory. Another moment of proving to yourself that you can keep going, even when everything else seems to be working against you. Godric takes another shot, and this time it's better. Still not perfect, but better. His frustration is there, but so is his determination. You can see it in the way he sets his stance, in the way he draws the bow with more focus, despite the exhaustion that's pulling at him. Even Harold, though struggling, manages to fire another arrow, his form still steady despite the tremor in his hands. The rain continues, the wind picks up, the storm never stops, but neither do you. The pressure from Sir Osbert remains, but you can't let it stop you. You can't afford to let the weight of his judgment break you. You shoot again. It's better. Not perfect, but better. The target is still there, still waiting for your next shot. And no matter how tired you are, no matter how soaked to the bone, you know you can't stop. You can't afford to. The world may be drowning in rain, the storm may be relentless, and Sir Osbert's expectations may be suffocating, but you keep shooting. Each shot is another step toward proving that you can endure, that you can survive. Reset, draw, release. You keep going, because that's all you can do. The storm doesn't let up, continuing to pour down in sheets as if it has no end. The rain beats down on you, on your fellow archers, turning the camp into a mire of mud, soaked tunics, and heavy hearts. The sky is nothing but a canvas of gray, and the air is thick with moisture, making every breath harder to take. The ground beneath your feet is treacherous, sucking at your boots with each step. But still, you stand. Still, you draw the bow, pull the string back, and release. Lucian, ever steady, fires another shot. The arrow strikes dead center. It's flawless. His form doesn't waver, his focus never falters, but you can see it in his eyes now. The fatigue, the quiet toll of the storm wearing him down. He's still hitting his mark, but even the best can't keep going forever. You try to push the envy aside to focus on your own shot. Lucian doesn't matter. Not right now. Godric is still struggling. His shots are off-center, his frustration mounting with each failed attempt. His form is less rigid now, his grip tightening with every pull of the string. He's trying to force perfection, but all it's doing is making his shots worse. His body is giving out, but he's not stopping. Not yet. He shoots again, and it's another miss. The exhaustion in his eyes tells you everything. He's reaching his limit, just like you are. Then there's Harold. His hands are shaking more with each shot, the strain of the rain and the pressure of Sir Osbert's silent judgment taking its toll. He's missing again, but you can see him resetting, pulling the string back, determined to keep going. The frustration is there, but so is the pride. He's not going to quit, even if every part of him is screaming for a break. And all the while, Sir Osbert walks the line, his gaze cold and unyielding. His eyes scan each archer, dissecting every movement, every shot. There's no encouragement, no words of support. Just that cold, calculating silence, as if every failure is a personal affront to him. You know that in his eyes there is no room for anything less than perfection, and yet all you're able to offer is whatever's left after hours of torment. You reset, you draw, you release. The arrow flies. It hits, but not where you wanted, off-center. A miss by just a little, but a miss nonetheless. The disappointment lingers, but you don't have time to focus on it. You reset again. Your body is heavy now, your mind foggy with fatigue. The storm is soaking you through, making every shot feel harder than the last. But you keep going. You pull back the string once more. Lucien shoots again. Perfect. His arrow strikes true, just like all the others. The sting of envy flares up, but you shut it down. He's been doing this longer. He's stronger, sharper. But you're not him. You're you, and you're still in this fight. You draw again. This time, the arrow hits better, closer to the center. It's not perfect, but it's better. You feel a flicker of satisfaction, a brief breath of relief. But you can't linger in that moment. You've got to do it again. You've got to keep going. Godric tries again. It's better, but still not enough. You see him clench his jaw, fighting against the storm, fighting against his own exhaustion. You know he wants to quit. Hell, everyone here does. But quitting isn't an option. Harold releases another arrow. It's wild, off-center, but you can see the effort in him, the stubborn determination to keep trying. It's almost admirable, the way he refuses to let himself be swallowed by the storm. The way he resets again, pulls back, releases. It's not a perfect shot, but he doesn't stop. You shoot again. This time it lands closer to the bullseye. It's enough. The rain is still coming down. The storm shows no mercy. Sir Osbert's eyes are still cold, still watching, still judging. But for a brief moment, you've done it. You've made it through another shot. And maybe that's all you need. The rain hasn't stopped, and neither will you. The hours drag on, the fatigue piling up like another layer of weight on your shoulders. The storm doesn't relent. The target, now barely visible through the rain, stands firm in front of you, and you keep shooting. Each shot feels like it might be your last. But you don't stop. You can't stop. With every arrow, you get closer. Maybe not to perfection, but to something. Something that means you can keep going, even when the world around you feels like it's falling apart. Because in a world like this, survival is the victory. It's not about being perfect. It's about enduring. It's about taking each shot, each breath, and refusing to stop. You reset, you draw, you release, and you survive. The storm rages on, its fury unyielding, as though it seeks to break you and everything around you. The rain falls in relentless torrents, soaking your clothes, chilling your bones, and turning the once firm earth beneath your feet into a slippery, sucking mire. Each step is harder than the last, and the weight of the bow feels heavier with each pull. The constant assault of the weather on your body is almost unbearable, but you don't stop. You can't. Lucien, as ever, is the picture of steadiness. His arrow hits the target with flawless precision, his form unwavering. The rain doesn't seem to touch him. He remains unaffected by the relentless downpour, continuing to shoot with an almost mechanical consistency. But even he can't escape the wariness creeping into his eyes, the small tremor in his fingers as he draws his bow. The storm is taking its toll on everyone. No one is immune to it, not even the seemingly perfect Lucien. Godric follows. His posture is still firm, but you can see the subtle signs of fatigue in him. His shots are off-center, straying further from the target with each release. The frustration is palpable in his clenched jaw and tightened grip. He's trying to fight against it, trying to force perfection despite the conditions, but the storm has worn him down. You see the effort in every movement, in every shot, but you also see the growing signs of exhaustion. Still, he doesn't stop. He resets, he draws, he shoots again. Harold, once full of energy and optimism, is now struggling. His shots are wild, his movements erratic, his hands tremble as he pulls the bowstring back, and his frustration is building with every failed attempt. But despite it all, he pushes forward. He doesn't stop. He doesn't give up. You can see the strain in his face, the weight of the storm bearing down on him, but his pride is still intact. He resets. He draws. He shoots again. It's not perfect, but it's a hit. And that's enough, for now. Then, it's your turn. The bow feels heavier with each shot, the fatigue seeping deeper into your muscles. Your fingers are stiff from the cold, and your mind feels foggy with exhaustion. The rain pelts your skin, makes it hard to focus. But still, you draw. You release. The arrow flies, but it's off-center, missing the target by a few inches. A sigh escapes you, but there's no time to dwell on it. You reset, draw again, and shoot. This time it's closer. It's not perfect, but it's better. For a brief moment, a flicker of satisfaction fills you, but it's fleeting. The rain doesn't stop, and neither do you. Lucian shoots again, his arrow landing dead center once more. It's infuriating in its perfection. How does he do it? How does he stay so focused, so precise, when the storm is driving everyone else to the edge? You can't afford to compare yourself to him. You have your own fight to face. You draw again, focus, and release. Another shot, and this time it's closer to the bullseye. It's a small victory, but it's a victory nonetheless. You don't have time to celebrate. The storm is still falling, and Sir Osbert is still pacing the line, his cold gaze never wavering, never offering a hint of approval or encouragement. His presence is a constant pressure, a reminder that perfection is all he cares about. The exhaustion weighs heavy, but you can't stop. You can't let it defeat you. Godric tries again, his shot landing a bit closer to the mark this time, but still not perfect. The frustration is clear on his face, but he doesn't falter. He resets, draws, and releases once more. And though his movements are slower, more deliberate, he's still fighting, still striving to meet the impossible standards set by Sir Osbert. The hours stretch on. The rain never lets up. Each shot feels like it could be your last, but you don't stop. You can't. Reset, focus, draw, release. Again and again, the rhythm continues, the exhaustion builds, but you keep going. Every missed shot is followed by another attempt, each one better than the last. And though the storm shows no sign of abating, neither do you. Harold misses again, but he doesn't let it show. He resets, pulls the string back, and shoots once more. The arrow flies true, landing near the center of the target. It's not perfect, but it's enough to keep him going. And that's all any of you can ask for right now. Enough to keep going. Enough to survive. Lucian shoots again. Perfect. Again. But even now you see it. The subtle signs that even he is feeling the weight of this storm. His movements are just a little slower, his focus just a little more strained. Even the best can only last so long. You draw once more. The string is tight in your hands, your body aches, and your mind is clouded with fatigue. The arrow flies, and this time, it hits the target squarely. It's not perfect, it never will be, but it's enough. For now, it's enough. You reset, take a deep breath, and shoot again. The rain continues to pour, but you keep shooting. You reset, you focus, you release, you survive, and that's enough. The storm shows no mercy. It's been hours, maybe longer. Time has become fluid, slipping away unnoticed, like the rain itself. The world around you is a blur of water, mud, and cold, with every breath feeling like you're swallowing the storm itself. The weight of it, the unrelenting pressure, is beginning to sink deeper, suffocating, squeezing out whatever energy you have left. But there's no choice. You can't stop. Not now. The rain has turned the training field into a quagmire, the ground slick and unforgiving. Every movement feels like it takes twice the effort to pull off, and you're sure the mud is pulling at your legs, trying to drag you down with every step you take. Still, you push forward. Reset. Draw. Release. Lucian shoots again. His arrow flies true, hitting the target dead center as if the storm were nothing more than a mild breeze. His form is flawless, his concentration unwavering, and for a brief moment, you envy him. But that envy is fleeting, replaced by the steely resolve to keep going. It's not about comparing yourself to Lucian anymore. It never was. It's about doing the best you can in this moment with the conditions you've been given. The rain doesn't stop, the storm doesn't care. Neither can you. Godric is still shooting, his movements more strained now, slower than they were at the beginning of the day. His arrow flies, but it's wide of the mark. You can see the frustration building inside him. The hours of training, the weight of the storm, the constant pressure from Sir Osbert, it's starting to break him. But he doesn't show it. Not outwardly, anyway. He resets his stance, draws the bowstring back again, and lets another arrow fly. It's closer this time, but still not perfect. But there's no time to dwell on it. He resets again, shoots again. Harold is no better, his hands visibly shaking as he pulls back the string. He releases his shot, but it misses wide, and you can see the anger and frustration creeping up on his face. The rain, the cold, the pressure, they've all become too much. You can feel his frustration in the way he clenches his jaw, the way his breath comes in short bursts. The exhaustion is starting to take over, but he doesn't stop, not even for a moment. He's reset, drawn again, and released. Another shot. You draw your bow again, your fingers cold and stiff, but you ignore it. You focus on the target, the relentless rhythm of the storm beating against your skin, and you let the arrow fly. It's close this time. Not perfect, but close enough. You exhale slowly, your breath fogging in the damp air. There's no time to savor the moment. Sir Osbert is moving down the line, eyes scanning each archer with that unblinking, judgmental stare. You don't look up at him. You know what he's thinking. It's not enough. It's never enough. But you can't let that get to you. The rain is coming down harder now, turning the air colder, the ground slicker, and the targets harder to see. You glance up at the sky for a moment, the dark clouds hanging like a curtain, blocking out whatever light was left. The storm has swallowed the world whole, leaving nothing but mud, rain, and the faint sounds of arrows hitting targets, or missing them. The pressure builds again as Lucien shoots, his arrow landing dead center once again. You can almost hear the sound of the bowstring snapping back as he releases the shot with a fluid, practiced motion. It's almost unfair. How does he stay so focused, so calm, when everything else is falling apart? But you remind yourself, it doesn't matter. This is your fight, not his. It's your battle against the storm, against the exhaustion, against the pressure. Godric tries again, another miss. This time, his frustration is more apparent. You can see the strain in his posture, the way he grips the bow, his teeth clenched. But even with the frustration and fatigue slowly taking over, he resets again. Shoots again. His arrow hits the target, but it's not quite as precise as it should be. It's another small victory in the storm of failure, but you can see the mental toll it's taking on him. Harold shoots once more. He misses. His shot is way off, and this time you hear the curse escape his lips. His hands are shaking again, and his shoulders sagging with the weight of the frustration, the weariness, the endless demands. The exhaustion is wearing on him in ways that are hard to ignore, but he doesn't stop. Not yet. He resets again, takes a deep breath, and shoots. It's still a miss, but he doesn't let it break him. Not here. Not now. And then, it's your turn again. Your bow feels heavier in your hands, and the weight of the rain is almost too much. Your fingers are numb, and you feel the ache in your muscles with every pull of the string. But you can't stop. The target is still there, and you have to hit it. You draw your bow again, trying to ignore the way your body is begging for rest. The shot flies. It's not perfect, but it's close. Another small victory, another shot to keep you moving. You hear Sir Osbert's footsteps behind you, but you don't turn. You know what he's thinking, what he's always thinking. This isn't good enough. You've seen it in his eyes 1,000 times before, that cold, unwavering expectation that perfection is the only option. But you're not here for perfection. You're here to survive, to make it through this no matter what the cost. Another shot. This time, it lands closer to the center. You feel a momentary flash of relief, but it's gone as soon as it comes. There's no time for relief. The rain hasn't stopped. The storm hasn't let up. Lucien shoots again, another perfect arrow, and you can't help but wonder if he even feels the weight of it all. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he does, what anyone else does. The only thing that matters is whether you hit the target, whether you can keep shooting despite the rain, the exhaustion, and the endless pressure. The hours have stretched into an eternity, and yet the storm still rages on, pushing you to the brink. But you keep going, because that's all you can do. Reset, draw, release. Again and again, and maybe, just maybe, that's a make it through. The rain keeps coming, the cold creeping deeper into your bones with every passing minute. Your clothes are soaked through, clinging to you like a second skin, and the mud beneath your feet feels more like quicksand than earth. Each step is a battle. The weight of the bow in your hands becoming heavier by the second. It's hard to tell if the exhaustion comes from the physical strain of the endless shots or from the suffocating pressure of the storm itself. The world around you seems to blur, the sky a constant sheet of gray, and every time you blink, it feels like the storm intensifies. Lucien shoots again, and once more his arrow lands in the center of the target. There's no hesitation in his movements, no sign of doubt. It's frustrating to watch. How can he keep going with this kind of precision? But you shake the thought away. It's not about him, it's about you. It's about whether you can make it through this storm, through the exhaustion, through the constant weight of failure, and still find a way to hit that target. Godric has slowed down. His movements are more labored now, the frustration mounting in his eyes with every miss. The constant pull of the bowstring seems to be taking more out of him than it ever has before. But he doesn't stop. Even when his shots go wide, even when his fingers are stiff and his breath shallow, he draws the string again. It's not about perfection anymore. It's about pushing through. It's about surviving, even when everything in you wants to quit. You feel the same way. You're not sure how many shots you've taken now. It feels like hundreds, maybe more. Every release an arrow, it's like a small battle. Every shot, every miss weighs on you, pulling at your resolve. But you can't stop. Not when the target is still there. Not when Sir Osbert is watching, his unblinking eyes scanning every movement, waiting for you to fail. But failure is not an option. Not today. Not now. Your arms are screaming in protest, the strain of holding the bow feeling more like a burden than a skill. But you reset. You draw the bowstring again, your fingers stiff and cold. The target is barely visible through the rain, but you can still see it. You take aim and release. The arrow hits, not perfectly, but it's close, closer than before. And for a brief moment, you allow yourself a flicker of satisfaction, but it's gone as quickly as it came. There's no time to dwell on it. You reset again. Harold shoots again, his hands shaking slightly as he pulls back the string. It's another miss. You can see the frustration and the weariness creeping up on him. His focus is faltering, his shots growing wilder, but he doesn't give up. He doesn't stop. Even when he misses again, he resets. He draws the bow once more. You can hear the quiet exhale of his breath, the silent determination in the way he holds the bow steady. Even when everything feels impossible, he refuses to quit. The rain doesn't stop, and neither does Sir Osbert. His eyes scan over each of you, his gaze cold, dispassionate, like you're nothing more than a series of movements to him. He's been walking the line, inspecting every shot, every release, but you don't look at him. You can't afford to. His judgment will crush you if you let it, but you can't. You have to focus on the target. Reset. Draw. Release. Lucian takes another shot, and as usual, it's perfect. His arrow hits the bullseye with unerring precision, and for a brief moment, you wonder if he ever feels the weight of this storm, of this endless struggle. Does it get to him? Does the pressure ever break through his stoic composure? He shoots again and again, the arrows hitting their mark with a quiet certainty. There's no sign of fatigue, no indication that the storm is wearing him down. It's maddening in a way, but you remind yourself he's not the one you're competing against. The only competition here is you, your will, your focus. You reset your stance, the weight of the bow seeming to grow heavier with each passing second. The exhaustion in your arms is almost unbearable now, but you keep going. Godric shoots again. This time it's closer to the mark. He exhales sharply, a brief flicker of relief in his eyes, but it's fleeting. No one can relax here, not while the storm is still falling, not while the target is still there, mocking you. The rain has turned the air into something thick and oppressive, and with every breath, you feel the heaviness in your chest. But you push it aside. You draw your bow again, trying not to let the wariness seep into your thoughts. The target is there, and the next shot has to be better. You release, and for a moment you watch the arrow fly, the rain blurring its path. It strikes the target, not dead center, but it lands. A hit. You breathe out, trying not to let the exhaustion completely overtake you. But it's hard. It's hard to ignore the way your body is begging for rest, the way the storm is stealing whatever energy you have left. Still, you don't stop. You reset, pull back the string again, and release. Another shot, another hit. It's not perfect, but you're still here, still fighting, and that's something. You can't afford to think about the misses, the times you've failed. All that matters is the next shot, the next one, and the one after that. Reset, draw, release. The storm may never stop, but you will. You keep shooting over and over again because that's all you can do. The rain may try to drown you, the exhaustion may try to break you, but you refuse to stop. You shoot again and again, and maybe, just maybe, that's enough to survive. The storm is still relentless, its fury showing no signs of easing. The sky above remains an endless expanse of gray, and the rain continues to pour down, soaking everything it touches. Every breath you take feels thicker, heavier, as if the air itself is soaked in water. The weight of the storm, the cold, and the exhaustion all seem to be working against you, trying to drag you down, but still, you stand. Still, you shoot. There's no other choice. The target is still there, mocking you, daring you to hit it. Lucian shoots again, and as always, his form is perfect. His arrow flies with the same effortless precision that you've come to expect. He doesn't seem affected by the rain, the wind, or the fatigue. It's almost as if he's unaffected by everything around him, and for a moment you feel a flicker of resentment. How does he do it? How does he stay so composed, so perfect, while the rest of you are struggling just to keep going? But you don't have time to dwell on that. You can't afford to. You draw your bow again, ignoring the way your body is starting to feel numb. Your arms ache, your fingers feel stiff, and your legs are beginning to wobble from standing too long in the mud. But still, you reset and take aim. The rain falls in sheets, making it harder to see, but the target is still there. You focus on it, block out the cold, the exhaustion, and release the arrow. It hits. It's not perfect, but it lands. Another small victory, and you exhale a shaky breath. You're still in this, but the satisfaction is short-lived because there's no time to celebrate. Sir Osbert is still walking the line, inspecting every shot, his cold gaze moving from archer to archer, never stopping, never offering approval. You know he's watching, waiting for any sign of weakness, any crack in your resolve, but you can't let that get to you. Not now. You reset, draw again, and fire. The arrow lands a little to the left, missing the center. The frustration builds inside you, and for a brief moment, you think about the warmth of a fire, the comfort of rest, but you shake it off. The storm isn't going to stop. Godric shoots, and his arrow flies wide again, missing the target. You can see the frustration in his posture, in the way his shoulders tense with every failed attempt. He doesn't show it, but it's clear the exhaustion is starting to break him. The weight of the bow is too much. The rain is too much. The pressure from Sir Osbert is too much. But he doesn't stop. You can see it in his eyes. He's pushing himself harder than ever, trying to make the perfect shot, but the storm has begun to break him down. It's not just the physical toll anymore. It's the mental strain, the weight of failure with every missed shot, and the feeling that you're never good enough. But still, Godric draws again. His bowstring stretches tight, and the arrow flies. This time it's closer, but not perfect. He grits his teeth, resets, and does it all over again. Harold is having trouble too. His hands are shaking, his breath uneven, and you can see the way the frustration is starting to turn into something darker. Every missed shot seems to take a piece of him, and the longer the storm rages, the harder it becomes for him to stay steady. You hear him muttering under his breath as he pulls the string back again. He lets the arrow fly, but it misses. The disappointment is written all over his face, but he doesn't stop. He resets, aims, and shoots again. The rain keeps falling, and you keep shooting. One shot at a time, each one harder than the last. Sir Osbert continues to walk past, his eyes scanning every movement, offering nothing but silent judgment. You know what he expects: perfection. But perfection isn't an option in this storm. Perfection doesn't matter when you're battling against the elements, against exhaustion, against your own limits. All that matters is that you keep going. You reset, you focus, you shoot. Your arrow flies again, and this time it lands a little closer to the mark. Not perfect, but enough to keep you moving forward. You take a moment to breathe, to reset, to ignore the way your body is aching, your arms heavy with the strain. Lucian shoots again, and once more, his arrow finds its mark. Dead center. You can't help but wonder how much longer he can keep this up. How long can anyone last under this kind of pressure? The storm is wearing everyone down, but Lucian's shots never falter. There's a kind of quiet certainty in his movements, a calmness that you can't seem to find in yourself. But still you reset, you draw again. You aim, you release, it's off-center, but it's a hit, a small victory in the face of this storm. You allow yourself a brief moment of relief before resetting again. There's no time to dwell on success or failure, only the next shot, the next moment, the next battle against the storm, the fatigue, and your own limits. Godric shoots again. His arrow lands closer to the center this time, but it's not perfect. It never is. but he's still in it. You can see the mental strength it's taking for him to keep going, and for a moment you feel a sense of solidarity. You're all in this together. The storm might break you, it might push you to the edge, but you don't stop. None of you do. Harold shoots again, and this time his arrow lands just inside the target. It's not perfect, but it's progress. He doesn't acknowledge it. He doesn't allow himself the luxury of satisfaction. There's no time for that. He resets. Shoots again. You take your turn once more. The bow feels like it's been tied to your arms, your fingers numb and full as your fraction, but you draw back the string anyway. The storm rages, the fatigue settles deeper, but you can't stop. You aim and you release. The arrow flies, and this time it lands a little closer. You breathe. Another shot down, another step forward. The rain keeps falling, the exhaustion builds, but you keep shooting. You reset. Draw, release, again and again, because that's the only way you'll survive. The storm is still relentless, its fury showing no signs of easing. The sky above remains an endless expanse of gray, and the rain continues to pour down, soaking everything it touches. Every breath you take feels thicker, heavier, as if the air itself is soaked in water. The weight of the storm, the cold, and the exhaustion all seem to be working against you, trying to drag you down, but still, you stand. Still, you shoot. There's no other choice. The target is still there, mocking you, daring you to hit it. Lucian shoots again, and as always, his form is perfect. His arrow flies with the same effortless precision that you've come to expect. He doesn't seem affected by the rain, the wind, or the fatigue. It's almost as if he's unaffected by everything around him. And for a moment, you feel a flicker of resentment. How does he do it? How does he stay so composed, so perfect, while the rest of you are struggling just to keep going? But you don't have time to dwell on that. You can't afford to. You draw your bow again, ignoring the way your body is starting to feel numb. Your arms ache, your fingers feel stiff, and your legs are beginning to wobble from standing too long in the mud. But still, you reset and take aim. The rain falls in sheets, making it harder to see, but the target is still there. You focus on it, block out the cold, the exhaustion, and release the arrow. It hits. It's not perfect, but it lands. Another small victory, and you exhale a shaky breath. You're still in this, but the satisfaction is short-lived because there's no time to celebrate. Sir Osbert is still walking the line, inspecting every shot, his cold gaze moving from archer to archer, never stopping, never offering approval. You know he's watching, waiting for any sign of weakness, any crack in your resolve, but you can't let that get to you. Not now. You reset, draw again, and fire. The arrow lands a little to the left, missing the center. The frustration builds inside you, and for a brief moment, you think about the warmth of a fire, the comfort of rest, but you shake it off. The storm isn't going to stop. Godric shoots, and his arrow flies wide again, missing the target. You can see the frustration in his posture, in the way his shoulders tense with every failed attempt. He doesn't show it, but it's clear the exhaustion is starting to break him. The weight of the bow is too much. The rain is too much. The pressure from Sir Osbert is too much, but he doesn't stop. You can see it in his eyes. He's pushing himself harder than ever, trying to make the perfect shot, but the storm has begun to break him down. It's not just the physical toll anymore. It's the mental strain, the weight of failure with every missed shot, and the feeling that you're never good enough. But still, Godric draws again. His bowstring stretches tight, and the arrow flies. This time, it's closer, but not perfect. He grits his teeth, resets, and does it all over again. Harold is having trouble too. His hands are shaking, his breath uneven, and you can see the way the frustration is starting to turn into something darker. Every missed shot seems to take a piece of him, and the longer the storm rages, the harder it becomes for him to stay steady. You hear him muttering under his breath as he pulls the string back again. He lets the arrow fly, but it misses. The disappointment is written all over his face, but he doesn't stop. He resets, aims, and shoots again. The rain keeps falling, and you keep shooting. One shot at a time, each one harder than the last. Sir Osbert continues to walk past, his eyes scanning every movement, offering nothing but silent judgment. You know what he expects: perfection. But perfection isn't an option in this storm. Perfection doesn't matter when you're battling against the elements, against exhaustion, against your own limits. All that matters is that you keep going, you reset, you focus, you shoot. Your arrow flies again, and this time it lands a little closer to the mark. Not perfect, but enough to keep you moving forward. You take a moment to breathe, to reset, to ignore the way your body is aching, your arms heavy with the strain. Lucian shoots again, and once more, his arrow finds its mark. Dead center. You can't help but wonder how much longer he can keep this up. How long can anyone last under this kind of pressure? The storm is wearing everyone down, but Lucian's shots never falter. There's a kind of quiet certainty in his movements, a calmness that you can't seem to find in yourself. But still, you reset. You draw again. You aim. You release. It's off-center, but it's a hit. A small victory in the face of this storm. You allow yourself a brief moment of relief before resetting again. There's no time to dwell on success or failure, only the next shot, the next moment, the next battle against the storm, the fatigue, and your own limits. Godric shoots again. His arrow lands closer to the center this time, but it's not perfect, it never is, but he's still in it. You can see the mental strength it's taking for him to keep going, and for a moment, you feel a sense of solidarity. You're all in this together. The storm might break you, it might push you to the edge, but you don't stop. None of you do. Harold shoots again, and this time his arrow lands just inside the target. It's not perfect, but it's progress. He doesn't acknowledge it. He doesn't allow himself the luxury of satisfaction. There's no time for that. He resets, shoots again. You take your turn once more. The bow feels like it's been tied to your arms. Your fingers numb, but you draw back the string anyway. The storm rages, the fatigue settles deeper, but you can't stop. You aim and you release. The arrow flies, and this time it lands a little closer. You breathe. Another shot down, another step forward. The rain keeps falling, the exhaustion builds, but you keep shooting. You reset, draw, release, again and again, because that's the only way you'll survive. The storm continues its unyielding assault, each drop of rain feeling like it's adding to the weight pressing down on you. The target, still there and ever present, seems to mock your every failure, daring you to hit it. But you don't stop. You can't. The pressure, the rain, the cold, they're all part of this now, and you've come to accept them as part of the challenge. They are obstacles, yes, but not insurmountable ones. Not if you keep moving forward. Not if you keep pushing through. Lucian shoots again, and once more, the arrow strikes the bullseye with a near-perfect shot. The precision with which he shoots is maddening, yet it's impossible to ignore the quiet mastery in his movements. He's not just shooting, he's surviving this storm with a kind of graceful persistence. Watching him, you wonder how long he can keep it up, but you don't focus on that. The storm isn't waiting for you to figure out Lucian's secret. The storm doesn't care if you're exhausted. It doesn't care if you're frustrated. It just keeps coming. Godric, as expected, shoots again. This time his arrow hits the edge of the target, a small victory in a sea of disappointments. The weariness is obvious on his face now. You see it in the way his shoulders sag, in the way his movements are more mechanical. The frustration is there, but so is the determination. Even when his body is begging him to stop, he doesn't. He resets, draws again, and shoots again. It's not perfect. It might never be, but it's enough to keep him in the fight. Harold is still struggling. His hands are shaking more now, and you can see the frustration in the way his fingers fumble with the bowstring. The exhaustion has taken hold of him, and the constant barrage of failed shots is breaking down his resolve. But even now, he doesn't stop. He doesn't speak, doesn't give in to the frustration, even when his shot goes wide again. His arrow misses the target, but he doesn't flinch. He resets, aims again, and shoots once more. It's not perfect, but it's a shot, and he'll keep taking them. The rain seems to be coming down even harder now, the sheets of water slicing through the air, blurring the world around you. Your clothes are a second skin, heavy with water, making each movement feel sluggish. But you don't stop. You can't. Each shot is a test of endurance, not just skill. The longer this goes on, the harder it is to push through the mental and physical toll. But you do it anyway. You reset, draw, and release. The arrow hits, not perfectly, but it hits. It's close enough to give you a moment of relief before you reset again. Sir Osbert continues to walk past, his eyes scanning every archer. His gaze lingers on you for a second longer, but you don't flinch. You don't look up. You know what he's thinking. Your shot wasn't good enough. You know he expects perfection, but you also know that no one can be perfect. The storm, the fatigue, the pressure, they've made sure of that. But what matters now is survival. What matters is that you don't give in. You keep resetting, drawing, and releasing, even when every part of you wants to quit. Lucian shoots again, and it's perfect again. His movements are smooth, effortless. You can't help but feel a twinge of resentment as you watch him, but you push it away quickly. There's no room for resentment here. The storm won't stop for your envy. It won't stop for anyone's weakness. You reset, take a deep breath, and focus on the target in front of you. You draw your bow again, feeling the weight of the string, feeling the cold seep through your fingertips, but you focus. You block out the rain, the cold, the exhaustion. You take aim. You release. The arrow flies, and this time, it's closer to the center. Not perfect, but closer. The small victory doesn't last long because there's always another shot, another moment to prove yourself. You don't celebrate the small victories. You take them and move on, because the storm doesn't care about your victories or your failures. It only cares about whether you're still standing when it's all over. Godric shoots again. His form is beginning to slip, his movements more rigid, but he still hits the target, just barely. It's a small victory for him, and you can see the way he's pushing through the exhaustion, the way his jaw tightens in determination. You admire that, the way he's still here, still fighting, even when everything seems to be working against him. You reset and draw again. Another shot, another small victory. But there's no time to celebrate. The rain keeps falling, the pressure mounts, and the exhaustion continues to build. But you keep going. You shoot again. You reset. The rain may never stop, but you will. You keep moving forward because you have no choice. The storm isn't going to wait for you to catch your breath. It's not going to pause just because you're tired. So you reset. And you keep going. Harold shoots again, and this time it's a little better. The arrow lands just inside the target, and though it's not perfect, you see the faintest glimmer of relief in his eyes. For a moment, he lets his guard down, but it's brief. He resets, draws again, and shoots again. His progress is slow, but it's there. He's still fighting, just like you. The rain continues and the storm rages on. But you don't stop. You keep shooting because that's all you can do. The exhaustion, the cold, the pressure, they're all part of this now. And as long as you keep shooting, as long as you keep moving forward, you're still in this fight. You reset, draw, release, again and again, and maybe, just maybe, that's enough to survive. The storm hasn't relented, and by now it feels like an eternal part of the world around you. The rain is heavier than before, coming down in sheets that blur the target, the trees, even the camp itself. Every movement feels slower, the weight of the storm dragging you down. You can barely see the ground beneath your boots, the mud swallowing your feet with every step. The bow feels heavier now, each shot a little more of a struggle, but there's no choice. The target is still there, and your only option is to keep aiming, to keep shooting, no matter how exhausted, how soaked, or how broken you feel. Lucian releases another arrow, and it lands precisely where it should. Dead center. The effortless perfection with which he shoots is maddening, but it's also a reminder of what focus can do. No matter how much the rain soaks you, no matter how much the exhaustion weighs you down, he never falters. It's as if nothing else exists for him except the target. But you remind yourself, you're not competing with him. He's just one piece of the puzzle, and you have your own fight to face. You take a deep breath, draw your bow again. The string feels tight in your fingers, the rain dripping down your arms, but you focus on the target. The world has become a blur of gray and brown, but you've learned to ignore the distractions. You release. The arrow flies, and this time, it strikes the target, just off center. Not perfect, but it's enough. Another small victory in this never-ending storm. You exhale slowly, a sigh of relief that's almost imperceptible, but there's no time to savor it. There's always another shot to take. You reset, draw again, and focus on the target. The rain keeps falling, but it can't stop you. It can't take this from you. Godric is next. His arrow flies, but it's wide of the mark. You can see the frustration on his face, the way his shoulders slump under the weight of failure. He's tired. You can see it in his movements, in the way he grips his bow tighter as if trying to force the shot. But he doesn't stop. Even when his shot misses, Even when he's hit with the full force of the storm's cruelty, he resets. He pulls the string back again and shoots again. The shot is better this time, closer to the center, but still not perfect. Still, he doesn't stop. He won't. Harold is struggling too. His hands are shaking, and you can see the anger building with every failed shot. His movements are jerky now, his focus wavering. It's getting harder for him to pull back the string, but he's trying. He releases his shot, and it misses wide. The frustration is evident, but you don't say anything. There's no room for words here. You know that he feels it. The fatigue, the failure, the overwhelming sense of being stuck in a cycle with no end in sight. But you also know that even in his frustration, he won't stop. He resets, aims again, and shoots again. His next shot lands a little closer, but it's not enough. Still, he doesn't stop. You draw your bow again, feeling the weight of the string, the exhaustion in your arms, but you focus. The target is still there, still waiting for you. The rain doesn't care if you're tired, and Sir Osbert certainly doesn't care. He's walking down the line, his eyes cold and dispassionate as always, scanning every archer, waiting for someone to fail, waiting for someone to break under the pressure. But you won't give him that satisfaction. Not today, not now. You draw, aim, and release. The arrow flies, and this time, it hits the mark. Not perfect, but closer. It's progress. It's enough for now. The storm rages on, and you can feel the weight of the hours pressing down on you. The mud, the rain, the exhaustion, they all blur together, but through it all, you keep shooting. Every shot, no matter how small the victory, is another step forward. You reset again. Draw. Release. There's no room for doubt, no room for hesitation. You know what you have to do. And for as long as you can keep your hands steady, for as long as you can still find the strength to reset and aim, you'll keep going. Lucian shoots again, his form as flawless as ever. The arrow flies, hitting the target right in the center. It's the same rhythm, the same precision. It's maddening to watch, but you can't stop yourself from admiring it. His consistency, his ability to shoot with such precision despite the storm, is a reminder that focus is everything. But you don't compare. You can't. Your fight is your own. Godric resets, his movements slower now, but more deliberate. His next shot lands closer to the bullseye. It's a small victory, but in a world where every shot feels like a battle, it's enough to keep him going. He doesn't speak, doesn't celebrate. He simply resets again and shoots again. The exhaustion is heavy in his movements, but he doesn't stop. Not yet. Harold shoots again, his hands trembling, but the arrow hits closer this time. It's still not perfect, but it's a sign that he's getting there. Slowly, painfully, but surely. The storm has taken its toll on him, on all of you, but the small victories are enough to keep the fire burning. He doesn't stop. You don't stop. The rain continues to pour. The storm has no mercy, but neither do you. You reset again. Draw. Release. The target is still there. You shoot again. It might not be perfect, but it's progress. It's enough to survive another round. The storm rages on, and so do you. The storm continues, the unrelenting downpour turning the world into a wash of gray and mud. Every breath feels like it's swallowed by the cold air. Your body stiff from hours of standing in place, each shot taking more out of you than the last. You've long lost count of how many times you've drawn the bowstring, how many arrows have flown in this never-ending cycle. All that matters now is the next shot, the next chance to prove you can keep going, even when every part of you wants to stop. You glance around. Lucian shoots again, as flawless as ever. His focus never wavers, his form steady and unyielding. It's almost as if the storm doesn't exist for him, like his world has narrowed down to just that target, just that bowstring. You watch him, a small flicker of envy gnawing at your insides, but it's gone as soon as it comes. There's no time for that. You have your own shot to take, your own fight to win. Godric, however, is slowing down. The weight of the storm, the exhaustion, the pressure, it's all catching up with him. His movements are heavier now, each shot more labored than the last. You can see it in the way his eyes flicker with doubt, the way his fingers tremble slightly as he draws the bowstring. He releases and his arrow flies, but it misses the mark by a significant margin. He doesn't show it, but you can feel the frustration in the way he sets himself up for the next shot, thus resetting his stance with a little more effort than before. And then there's Harold, whose struggle is becoming more apparent with every shot. His hands shake as he pulls back the string, his breath coming in short, strained bursts. You can see the mental battle happening inside him, the frustration at every miss building like a storm of its own. His next shot is wild, far off the target, but he doesn't let it defeat him. He resets again, draws again. He's holding on, trying to push through the weight of the storm, the weight of his own fatigue, but you can see it's starting to take its toll. Still, he doesn't stop. Not yet. You draw your bow again, feeling the strain in your muscles, the cold creeping through your limbs. The storm is no longer just a nuisance. It's a force that has taken hold of everything, and you wonder how much longer you can stand against it. But you don't have time for doubt. You don't have time to question your ability to keep going. The target is still there. You aim. You release. The arrow flies, and this time it lands closer to the center. Not perfect, but close enough to keep you in this fight. Another small victory, another shot down. The rain keeps falling. The exhaustion continues to build. But you reset, draw again, and take another shot. Lucian shoots once more. His arrow strikes dead center, as flawless as the one before. You can almost feel the weight of his focus in the air, and for a split second you wonder if he's even aware of how much the storm is wearing down the rest of you. But you shake the thought away. It doesn't matter. His success is his own, just as your struggles are yours. Godric shoots again, and this time his arrow lands on the edge of the target. A small victory, but still a victory. His movements are slower now, the weight of the bow becoming more of a burden with every shot. But even as the fatigue begins to drain him, he doesn't stop. His next shot might be a little off-center, but he doesn't let it get to him. He draws the string back again, resets, and shoots once more. It's a battle now, not just against the target, but against the storm, against the fatigue, against the pressure. But he keeps fighting. Harold releases his shot. This time, it's a little better. The arrow lands closer to the center of the target. It's not perfect, but it's a step forward. You can see the faintest glimmer of pride in his eyes, but he quickly suppresses it. There's no room for pride here. Not yet. Not until this is over. You shoot again, and this time the arrow flies true. It's not perfect, but it's enough to keep you moving. The rain keeps falling, but you can't stop. You won't. The storm hasn't stopped, and neither have you. The hours have bled together into one endless blur, but you push forward. Reset. Draw. Release. The fatigue is nearly overwhelming now, but the target is still there, waiting for you. The weight of Sir Osbert's judgment still lingers, his silent gaze following your every move, but you won't let it break you. The pressure is heavy, but it's nothing compared to the storm. And in the face of this storm, all you can do is keep fighting, keep shooting, keep surviving. Another shot, another moment of struggle. The arrow hits, though not perfectly, but it's progress. You take a deep breath, exhale slowly, and draw again. Another shot. Another chance to prove to yourself that you can survive this storm, even when it feels like it's never going to end. Lucian shoots again. Another perfect shot, another reminder of his relentless focus, his unwavering control. But even in his perfection, he's not invincible. You can see the slight flicker of exhaustion in his eyes. The toll is starting to show on all of you, even him. The rain keeps falling, the storm keeps raging, but you don't stop. You draw again, you shoot again, and you keep fighting, because that's all you can do. In this endless battle against the elements, the fatigue, the pressure, all you can do is keep going. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough. The storm hasn't relented. Each gust of wind, each drop of rain feels like another weight added to your already heavy body. The rain now comes down so hard that it stings as it hits your skin, blurring your vision and making it harder to focus. Every step feels heavier, like the mud beneath you is actively trying to pull you into the earth. It's getting harder to hold the bow, harder to keep moving forward. But you don't stop. You can't. You glance at Lucian as he releases another arrow, and once again, it hits dead center. No hesitation, no doubt, just pure precision. His form is flawless, almost mechanical in its consistency. You can see the faintest flicker of fatigue in his eyes, but it's barely noticeable. He resets, draws again, and releases once more, hitting the target with the same effortless grace. You can't help but admire him. How does he do it? How does he manage to stay so focused in the middle of this chaos? But you push the thought aside. This is not the time for comparisons. You have your own battle to fight. You draw your bow again, your arms sore from the constant strain, your hands cold and stiff from the rain. Your fingers ache, your body feels numb, but you don't stop. You focus on the target, block out the rest of the world, and release. The arrow flies and it lands near the center. Not perfect, but it's progress. Small victories are the only thing that can keep you going now. You exhale, but it's a short-lived relief. There's no time to savor it. You reset again because the next shot is all that matters. Godric shoots next. His arrow strikes closer to the target's center, but not enough to bring a smile to his face. You can see it in the way his hands tremble slightly, the strain of pushing himself harder and harder, but it's clear he's struggling. The exhaustion is starting to show in the way he moves, but he doesn't let it stop him. He resets again, focusing on the next shot. Even when the weight of everything seems to be closing in on him, he keeps going. You admire his determination. Even now, when every shot feels like an act of sheer will, he doesn't stop. Harold follows, and his shot veers off again, missing the target completely. His frustration is obvious, but he doesn't let it show too much. Instead, he resets, his hands shaking slightly as he draws again. You can see the strain in his eyes as he pulls back the string, as he fights against the exhaustion that's creeping into his body. But still, he doesn't stop. Even as his shot goes wide, he sets up for another try, and another. The storm isn't giving him a break. It isn't giving any of you a break. But he keeps pushing, just like you, just like everyone else. The rain keeps pouring, but the rhythm remains. Draw, aim, release. It's all you can do, over and over again, no matter how tired you are, no matter how many times you miss. The exhaustion, the cold, the pressure, they're all part of this battle now. But you reset, block it all out, and fire again. Another shot. The arrow flies and lands with a soft thud. Closer this time, but still not perfect. But that's okay. You're not aiming for perfection anymore. You're aiming for survival, for the chance to keep going. Lucian shoots again, landing yet another perfect shot. His movements are still as fluid as ever, the bowstring releasing with a satisfying snap. It's almost mesmerizing to watch, the way he's able to block out everything around him, the way he shoots as though nothing could distract him. You wonder how much longer he can keep it up. But again, it doesn't matter. The storm doesn't care. Sir Osbert doesn't care. The target doesn't care. Only you can control whether you keep going or not. And you will. You draw your bow again. Your muscles scream in protest, but you ignore it. You focus on the target. You take aim, and you release. The arrow hits closer this time. It's not perfect. It never is, but it's a small step forward. It's enough to keep you going. The satisfaction doesn't last long, though. You exhale slowly, but there's no time to pause, no time to take comfort in that small victory, because the next shot is already waiting for you. Godric takes another shot, his arrow landing near the center this time, though still not perfect. The frustration in his eyes is more apparent now, but he doesn't allow it to stop him. He's learned by now that frustration doesn't help. It only weighs you down. So he resets again, focuses, and shoots again. You watch him, feeling the strain in your own body, and wonder if you can keep going like he is. Can you push through the pain, the fatigue, the unrelenting pressure of Sir Osbert's silent judgment? You reset, draw, and release another shot. It's off-center, but it's better. Better than the last one. That's enough for now. The hours have blurred together, the rain is still falling, and you're still standing here, shooting over and over again. Your body aches. Your mind is beginning to feel foggy from the exhaustion, but you don't stop. You can't stop. The target is still there, still waiting for you. The storm isn't going anywhere. The rain won't stop. The mud won't stop, but neither will you. You draw again. You aim. You release. The arrow flies and it strikes closer to the target. Progress. A small victory. You'll take it. Harold shoots again, missing by inches. He curses quietly under his breath, but doesn't let it get to him. Instead, he resets again. He draws his bow. His movement's a little slower now, but still steady. The frustration hasn't defeated him. Not yet. You watch him, silently cheering him on, knowing that you too are in this fight, struggling together. Another shot, another reset, another fight against the storm. You draw once more. Your arms are heavy, your mind starting to drift, but you focus. You can do this. The arrow flies, landing on the target once again, not perfect, but closer. You take a deep breath. It's enough for now. The rain keeps falling, and you keep shooting. The storm isn't going anywhere. Neither are you. The storm rages on, its fury unrelenting. The rain has become a constant force in the world around you, drowning out every thought except the need to survive. The target, once so clearly defined, now feels distant, hidden behind a veil of relentless water. The wind howls, making it harder to steady yourself, harder to keep your focus sharp. Each breath is harder to take, the air thick with moisture, but still, you stand. Still, you fight. Lucian shoots again, and once more, the arrow finds the bullseye. His form, so fluid and perfect, is like watching a machine at work. The precision with which he releases each shot is maddening, but you can't help but admire it. How does he do it? How does he keep that level of focus despite the rain, the cold, and the mental fatigue that weighs on all of you? But it doesn't matter. His success is his own. You have your own struggle, your own battle. You push the thought aside. This is not about him. You reset, your body protesting at the movement. The exhaustion is crawling into every part of you now, from your muscles to your bones. But you draw the bowstring back, block out the storm, and release the arrow. It hits, but not perfectly. It's just off-center, not a complete miss, but not the clean hit you were hoping for. You exhale, the frustration threatening to take root, but you push it away. You don't have time for that. You focus again, reset, and draw. Godric shoots again. His movements are slower now, more deliberate, but his shot lands a little closer to the center this time. You can see the strain in his eyes, the exhaustion that's begun to settle deep into his body. The rain has soaked through to his bones, and it's clear that his stamina is wearing thin. But he doesn't stop. Even as his movements slow, even as his focus seems to flicker for just a second, he keeps going. He resets and shoots again. It's not perfect, but he's still in this. You admire his resilience. Harold is struggling. His hands are shaking now, the tremors visible even as he pulls the bowstring back. His focus is wavering, and you can see the toll the storm has taken on him. He releases his shot, but it flies wide, missing the target completely. You see the frustration in his eyes, the way his shoulders slump. The storm is wearing him down, but still, he doesn't stop. He resets and draws again. The exhaustion is written all over him, but he keeps going, one shot after another. He might be close to breaking, but not yet. Not while there's still time to shoot. You draw your bow again, your fingers stiff, your body heavier with each movement. The target is blurry through the rain, but you focus. You can't afford to miss. You can't afford to fail. The pressure, Sir Osbert's silent judgment, the cold, the rain, they don't matter right now. The only thing that matters is this next shot. You aim, draw, and release. The arrow hits. Not dead center, but it lands. It's enough. You breathe for a moment, the relief short but sweet, before resetting and drawing again. The storm still rages, the rain still falls, but your focus never wavers. The target is still there, and you'll keep fighting for it. Lucian shoots again, another perfect shot. It's like he's immune to the fatigue, to the rain, to the pressure. His form is unbroken, his focus unwavering. You watch him, impressed but also weary of it. It's as if nothing touches him, nothing affects him the way it does you. But you know that he's still here, still fighting. There's no room for envy. There's only room for your own fight. Godric releases another shot. This time it's almost perfect. It's closer, much closer to what you all need. You see him breathe out, a small sigh of relief, but there's no time to rest. He resets and shoots again, each arrow a small, measured step forward, even if it's not the perfect shot. You wish you could take his determination, his strength, and hold on to it yourself, but you can't. All you have is your own will. Harold tries again. His movements are more sluggish now, his body sinking deeper into the exhaustion that's already taken hold. He pulls back the string, his breath ragged, and releases. The arrow flies wide again. His frustration builds, but it's not enough to break him. He adjusts his stance, sets up for another shot, but this time, you see it, the uncertainty in his eyes. He's doubting himself now, and it's hard not to feel that same doubt creeping into your own mind. How much longer can you all keep this up? But then you see him reset, draw the string back, and shoot once more. It's still not perfect, but he doesn't stop. He never will. The rain continues, as relentless as the storm of frustration inside you. Your fingers ache, your body is drenched, your mind is foggy, but you reset and shoot again. Another small victory. The arrow hits closer to the center. It's a small thing, but it's enough to keep you moving. You can't stop now. You won't. The hours stretch on, the storm a constant backdrop to the chaos of your own thoughts. The rain is no longer just a part of the environment, it's a part of you now. It's in your muscles, your bones, your very soul, and as the storm continues to rage, you realize something. The rain is not just a challenge, it's the fight. It's what will define who you are when it's all over. Another shot, another struggle. You're tired, every part of you aching, but you don't stop. You draw again, you focus, and you release. The arrow lands, but not perfectly. Still, you reset, because the fight isn't over yet. Lucian shoots again, and for the first time, his arrow misses the mark. Just a little, but it's enough. For a fleeting moment, you feel a sense of relief that maybe, just maybe, you're not the only one being tested. But before you can think about it too long, he resets and shoots again. His form is perfect once more. And then it's your turn again. You reset and you shoot. The storm may not stop, but neither will you. You can feel the exhaustion, but it doesn't matter. You keep going. The storm has become an endless companion, its grip tightening around you with every passing moment. The rain doesn't just soak your body, it invades your thoughts, distorting everything around you until it feels like there's nothing but the relentless barrage of water and wind. Every breath feels cold and heavy, as if the air itself has been swallowed by the storm. And yet, you stand, you shoot, you fight. There is no other choice. Lucian is still shooting, and once again, his arrow strikes true. It's as if the storm doesn't even exist for him, his form unbroken, his focus unshakable. He's a machine, and the rain might as well be a gentle breeze for all the effect it seems to have on him. It's maddening to watch. How does he do it? How does he keep going hour after hour without faltering? You try not to dwell on it. There's no room for envy here. All you can control is your own shot, your own focus. You reset, draw the bowstring back again, and release. The arrow flies, cutting through the storm, and lands just off center. Not perfect, but it's a hit. Another small victory. You breathe, your body shaking from the cold, the exhaustion, but there's no time to stop. You reset once more, draw the string back, and shoot again. Godric is slowing down, his movements less fluid, more labored. His shots are still accurate, but it's clear that the storm, the pressure, and the fatigue are beginning to take their toll. He's been here just as long as you, just as battered by the storm, and you can see the mental strain on his face. He's pushing himself harder now, fighting against the exhaustion that seems to be pulling at his every movement. But he doesn't stop. His next shot isn't perfect, but it's a step forward. He draws again, not willing to give in, even as his body is begging him to stop. You watch him, silently impressed by the strength it takes to keep going. You know that feeling all too well, the way your body aches, the way your mind clouds with frustration, but the knowledge that you can't afford to stop. Not yet. Not until this is over. Harold is struggling more now, and you can see it. His shots are becoming less accurate, the tremors in his hands more pronounced. The fatigue is visible in the way his breath comes in short gasps, in the way his body seems to be wilting under the weight of the storm. He releases another shot, but it flies wide, missing the target completely. You can hear the frustration in his exhale, the way his shoulders slump. But even in the face of failure, Harold doesn't stop. He resets, draws the string back. He's clearly fighting to keep going, but you see something in his eyes, something that won't let him quit. The storm may have worn him down, but it hasn't beaten him yet. His next shot is better. It's closer. Not perfect, but better. You give him a brief nod of silent encouragement, but you don't speak. There's no need. You know what he's feeling. The rain continues to pour down, and you feel like you're beginning to merge with it. Wet, cold, and exhausted, just another part of the storm. You draw again, your body protesting, but your mind is focused. The target is there, blurry through the downpour, but it's still a target. It's still something to aim for. You take aim, release. The arrow hits. It's off-center, but it's progress. And progress is all you can ask for right now. You exhale slowly, barely acknowledging the shot before resetting again. There's no room for celebration. The storm isn't over. The pressure isn't gone. But you're still here. And for as long as you're still standing, you'll keep shooting. Lucian shoots again, and once more the arrow lands dead center. The perfection of his form, the way his focus never falters, is like a machine working through an impossible storm. But this time you can see it. A tiny, barely noticeable shift in his stance. The rain has started to affect him, just as it has affected all of you. His movements are slightly slower now, more deliberate. The fatigue, the rain, the pressure, they're all catching up with him. But he resets, draws again, and releases another perfect shot. It's a reminder that no one can stay perfect forever, not even Lucian. You pull back the string again, your muscles aching, your body barely able to hold itself up. But you reset, you focus, you aim, and you shoot. The arrow flies and it strikes the target again. Closer. Not perfect, not yet, but it's enough to keep you in this fight. You reset, draw again, and shoot again. You don't stop. The rain keeps falling, the storm rages on, but you keep moving forward. Step by step, shot by shot, you survive. Godric tries again, his arrow landing close to the center. His form is still strong, but you see the tension in his shoulders, the strain in his jaw. He's not the same as he was at the start. The storm, the fatigue, and the pressure have all taken a toll. But even as the storm threatens to swallow him, he fights on. You feel the same way. The storm might be too much for your body, but your mind knows this fight isn't over. Not yet. You reset and you draw again. Another shot. The arrow flies true. The rain doesn't stop, but you're still in it. The exhaustion is heavy, but you keep going because that's all you can do. And as long as you can keep going, as long as you can take the next shot, you'll survive this storm. One shot at a time. The storm shows no mercy, but neither do you. The rain continues to pour down, a ceaseless rhythm that feels almost like a part of you now, washing over your skin, soaking into your bones, dragging you further into the mud beneath your feet. You can't feel your fingers anymore, but you don't stop. You focus on the target, drawing the bowstring back, despite the weight of fatigue pulling you down, despite the rain stinging your eyes, despite the exhaustion that weighs like a mountain on your shoulders. You reset, aim, and release. The arrow hits. Not perfect. It never is. But it's closer. Closer than before. That's all you can ask for now. Progress, no matter how small, is enough. You exhale slowly, wiping the rain from your face, and prepare for the next one. Lucian releases another shot, and it's perfect, as always. His form, his focus. They haven't faltered once. You can't help but watch him for a moment, wondering how much longer he can keep it up. How much longer can anyone keep going in these conditions? The rain, the mud, the weight of it all, it's all enough to break even the strongest. But not Lucian. Not yet. He resets, pulls the bowstring back, and releases another arrow. It flies true. The frustration, the exhaustion, the pressure, they're all starting to wear down on you. You feel it deep inside, that gnawing feeling that tells you it might be easier to just give in. But you don't. You can't. You've come this far, and stopping now would be like admitting defeat. But you're not ready to admit defeat. Godric shoots next. His arrow lands a little closer to the center. His body is slumping, his movements more sluggish than before, but there's still fire in his eyes. You can see it, even through the exhaustion, the fatigue. He's fighting for it, fighting to stay focused, to stay sharp. His next shot is better than the last. It's not perfect, but it's a step forward. And that's enough. Harold releases his shot. It misses. You can see the defeat in his eyes, the way his shoulders drop, the way his fingers twitch in frustration, but he doesn't speak, doesn't let it consume him. He simply resets, draws again, and shoots once more. It's still not perfect, but it's closer. It's progress. And he doesn't stop. The rain is beating down harder now, the wind picking up, but it's like the storm is testing you all, testing who can endure the longest, who can push through the hardest. The exhaustion is starting to feel suffocating, and you wonder how much more your body can take. But the target is still there, and for as long as it is, you'll keep fighting. You draw again. The bowstring feels heavier than ever, but you ignore the weight of it. The target is still there, waiting for you. The rain might obscure your vision, but it doesn't obscure the target. It's there. You focus, aim, and release. The arrow flies. It hits. Not dead center, but it lands on the target, and for a moment, you allow yourself a brief sense of relief. Just for a moment. You've made it this far. You reset and prepare for the next shot. The storm, it seems, has no end. The rain doesn't stop, and neither do you. You feel the weight of it in your bones now. Every shot is harder, every movement more laborious than the last. But still, you stand. Still, you shoot. You know you can't stop until the storm is over. You can't stop until the target is hit. Lucian releases another arrow, and it's another perfect shot. There's no hesitation, no sign of doubt. He doesn't even seem affected by the storm, but you know it's there, deep inside him, just like it is in all of you. The fatigue, the exhaustion, the weight of the rain, they're all there. But he keeps pushing. And so do you. Godric shoots again. His arrow strikes a little closer to the bullseye. A small victory, a sign that he's still in the fight. You watch him reset and release again, the tension in his posture still strong despite the weight of the storm on him. He's not perfect, but he's still here. That's what matters. That's what keeps you all going. Harold shoots once more. His hands are trembling now, the fatigue overwhelming his movements, but the shot lands closer to the center than before. He doesn't celebrate, doesn't let himself feel the victory. He just resets, draws, and shoots again. The rain doesn't stop, the exhaustion doesn't stop, but he doesn't either. You draw your bow again. The storm is pushing you to your limits, but you have no choice but to keep going. You focus on the target, block out the pain, and release. The arrow flies, and this time, it's almost perfect. Not quite, but better. And better is enough for now. Lucian shoots again, another perfect shot. The arrows seem to fly as effortlessly as breathing for him. You wonder if he's even feeling the weight of the storm anymore, but you don't have time to focus on that. The storm isn't going anywhere. Neither are you. You reset and shoot again. You can feel the exhaustion weighing on your shoulders, but the target is still there. And as long as it is, you keep fighting, one shot at a time. You reset, draw, release. The rain keeps falling, but you don't stop. Because you can't. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough to make it through. The storm's fury hasn't subsided, and it feels as though it never will. The endless rain keeps battering you, relentless, suffocating. It's as if the world itself is conspiring to drown you in its cold embrace. Every breath feels heavier, like the air is saturated with the weight of the storm. Your muscles scream in protest, and yet you continue. You reset, draw, release. Over and over again, the cycle continues. Each shot is another moment of survival, another step forward, no matter how small. Lucian shoots again, his form still impeccable. He releases the arrow with the same precision, hitting the target dead center, as he always does. His movements remain fluid, his focus unwavering. It's maddening to watch him remain so perfect while the rest of you are struggling to even keep your hands steady. But then, something shifts in his stance. A brief flicker of hesitation, just a fraction of a second, but it's there. Even Lucian can't escape the exhaustion. Even he is feeling it, but he hides it well. Still, his shot is flawless. You can't afford to dwell on it. You have your own fight to win. The rain continues, soaking through every layer of your clothing, pressing against your skin like 1,000 needles. The cold gnaws at your bones, making it harder to focus. Your arms feel as though they are made of lead, each movement becoming slower, more deliberate. But you push through. You don't stop. The target is still there, still waiting for you to hit it. You reset, draw again, and release. The arrow flies, and this time it lands a little closer to the center. It's not perfect, but it's better than before. A small victory in the face of overwhelming odds. You exhale, the smallest of reliefs flooding your chest, but there's no time to savor it. There's always the next shot. Another test. Another chance to push yourself further than before. Godric is next. His form has slowed, the steady rhythm of his shots becoming more labored. His body, once so strong and precise, is beginning to show the strain. He draws back the string again, but you can see the tremble in his hand. The fatigue is settling deep into his bones, and you know it's not just the physical exhaustion anymore. It's the mental weight, the pressure to keep going, to keep shooting, despite every fiber of his being wanting to give up. But he doesn't. He releases another shot, and it lands just shy of the center. Not perfect, but he resets and does it again. It's not just about the shot anymore. It's about the will to keep going. Harold is struggling. His hands are shaking, his shots growing wilder, more erratic. The frustration is clear on his face as he pulls the bowstring back once again, but this time there's a slight tremor in his fingers that wasn't there before. The rain keeps coming, and with each drop, you see the weight of it in his posture. He shoots and it misses, wide again. But even though his shoulders slump, even though the frustration is almost palpable, he doesn't give up. He draws again. He shoots again, his shot lands just inside the target, but not perfectly. It's progress. He doesn't stop. You can see it in his eyes now, the quiet strength that keeps him going. The storm may be trying to break him, but it won't. Not yet. Not while he's still standing. You draw your bow once more. Your arms feel like they might give out, but you ignore the pain. The target is still there. It's not going to wait for you to rest. The storm isn't going to pause. The exhaustion isn't going to ease. You reset, aim, and release. The arrow strikes the target again. Not perfectly. Not perfectly at all, but it's another shot, another moment where you've proven to yourself that you're still in this fight. You can't stop now. The storm may never stop, but neither will you. Lucian shoots again, another perfect shot. The frustration that you felt earlier starts to turn into something else, a quiet understanding. Lucian has his own battle to fight, just like you. His consistency, his unshakable focus is his strength. But that doesn't mean the storm isn't wearing him down too. You remind yourself that you're not alone in this. No one here is untouched by the rain. No one is immune to the weight of the storm. Godric shoots again. This time the arrow flies straighter, landing closer to the center. The exhaustion is still evident, but there's a determination in the way he moves. He's still pushing, still fighting to get closer to that perfect shot, to that elusive success that always seems just out of reach. But you can see it. That's the spirit that's keeping him going. It's not about perfection, it's about pushing through. Every shot, every movement is a victory in itself. Harold shoots once more. His hands still shake, but this time the shot is better. It's still not perfect, but it's a sign that he's holding on. He's still in this fight, still taking every shot, no matter how difficult it gets. You can see it in the way he breathes, the way his eyes flicker with determination. He's tired. You're all tired. But he's still here. And that's what matters. The rain is relentless, and the storm has no end in sight, but you keep going. You shoot again, and this time your arrow lands closer to the center. Not perfect, but closer. It's enough to keep you moving forward. You reset, draw, and shoot again. The exhaustion is wearing you down, but the target is still there. The storm might never stop, but you won't stop either. The small victories accumulate. Shot after shot, each one a little closer to perfection. The rain doesn't stop. The exhaustion doesn't stop, but neither do you. You reset again, focus, draw, release. And somehow that's enough. The storm is still raging, as fierce as ever, but there's a certain rhythm to it now. You've become so accustomed to the sound of the rain, the thrum of each raindrop hitting your cloak, your skin, your face, that it no longer feels like an obstacle. It's just another part of this battle you're fighting. Your battle against the storm, against exhaustion, and against your own mind telling you to quit, but you won't. You can't. Lucian shoots again. His arrow flies as if the storm doesn't exist, striking dead center. The precision, the effortless grace with which he shoots is maddening, but it's also a reminder. He's still fighting. He's still here, still drawing, still releasing arrow after arrow without faltering. But you know that even someone like him has to be feeling the weight of this storm, the fatigue, the exhaustion. You see the briefest flicker in his eyes, a momentary hesitation, but before it's even fully there, it's gone. He resets, draws, and releases again. Another perfect shot. But you know it won't last forever. Even Lucian can only endure for so long. The rain doesn't stop, but neither do you. You draw again, your body heavy with the weight of it all. The mud pulls at your boots, the rain weighs you down, but the target is still there. It's always been there. You focus, you aim, you shoot. The arrow flies true, striking closer to the center. Not perfect, but it's better. A small victory in a world of relentless pressure. You allow yourself a brief moment of relief, the faintest glimmer of satisfaction before resetting once more. There's no time to stop, no time to bask in that victory. The storm is still here, and so is your fight. Godric releases his next shot. It's better this time, a little closer to the mark. The fatigue is still there, weighing him down, but there's something in his eyes now, a quiet strength that wasn't there before. He's not perfect. No one here is. But he's still going, he's still in this, and so are you. You take another breath, draw your bow again, and shoot. The arrow hits. It's not dead center, but it's closer than the last one. The storm doesn't relent, but it doesn't break you either. You reset, and you shoot again. Harold is still going, though it's clear the storm has taken more of a toll on him. His shots have grown more erratic, his movements less sure, yet, but there's something in his stance, in his resolve, that keeps him from stopping. He shoots, and it's wide again, but you see the way he wipes the rain from his face, resets his stance, and draws again. The frustration doesn't have the chance to consume him. He's not perfect, none of you are, but there's a fire in his eyes that refuses to go out. Lucian shoots again. It's perfect. The arrow lands without hesitation, without faltering. His form is flawless once more, and you can't help but feel a pang of envy. How is he doing it? How can he remain this steady, this focused for so long? But the storm isn't interested in perfection. It's testing you all, and perfection doesn't matter anymore. What matters is whether you can endure, whether you can keep going when every fiber of your being is screaming to stop. You draw your bow again, your muscles ache, your body is soaked through, but the target is still there, waiting. You focus. The rain doesn't matter. The storm doesn't matter. Only this shot. You release. The arrow hits. It's not perfect, but it's enough. And in this storm, in this battle against everything that wants to break you, enough is all you can ask for. Godric shoots again. His shot lands near the bullseye this time. It's the closest he's gotten all day. He doesn't smile, doesn't show any sign of satisfaction, but you can see the relief in his eyes. A small victory. A brief respite in the endless storm. He resets again, draws the string back, and releases another shot. He's not stopping. He's still here. Harold pulls back the string, his hands shaking, but the shot flies. It's better this time. Closer. And he doesn't stop. He draws again, his body moving slower now, more labored, but he doesn't stop. The storm has beaten him down, but it hasn't broken him. Not yet. And then it's your turn again. You draw, aim, and release. Another shot. Another moment of survival. The arrow strikes just a little to the left, but still on the target. You exhale slowly, the tiniest hint of relief filling your chest, but it's gone in an instant. The next shot is already waiting for you. There's no time to rest, no time to linger in the small victories. You reset, you focus, you shoot. The storm rages, the rain continues to pour, but you're still here. You won't stop, because you can't. You have come this far, and you won't let the storm take you down now. The target is still there, still waiting, and you will keep shooting. Lucian shoots again and again, the arrow hits dead center. It's maddening, the perfection he maintains, but it's also a reminder that this isn't about being perfect. It's about surviving, it's about enduring. And Lucian, for all his precision, is in this fight just as much as you are. The hours pass one shot at a time. The storm never stops, but neither do you. Each arrow that strikes is a small victory. Each step you take toward the next shot is another moment where you refuse to be broken, and maybe, just maybe, that's enough. You draw, you shoot, and you survive. The storm is still raging, its relentless fury a constant companion. The rain pounds your body, each drop stinging like 1,000 needles, soaking through your clothes and into your bones. Your muscles ache with exhaustion, and every shot feels heavier than the last. Yet, despite the weight of the storm, despite the relentless pressure, you don't stop. You can't stop. Lucian shoots again. His form remains flawless, his arrow hitting dead center with perfect precision, as it always does. The rain doesn't seem to faze him. His movements are fluid, almost mechanical. It's maddening to watch how effortlessly he moves, how focused he remains, even in the face of this endless storm. But even Lucian, for all his perfection, has to be feeling the weight of it. The exhaustion, the fatigue. There's a moment, just a flicker in his eyes where it's clear that even he isn't immune, but he resets, draws, and releases again, hitting the mark with the same ease as before. You can't afford to dwell on it. His fight is his own, your fight is yours. You draw your bow again. Your fingers are stiff, your arms feel like lead, and every part of you aches, but the target is still there, still waiting. You focus on the shot, block out the rain, the cold, and the weight of your own exhaustion. The storm doesn't matter. Not now. Not while there's still a shot to take. You reset, aim, and release. The arrow flies true, landing just shy of the center. It's not perfect, but it's closer. Progress. A small victory in the face of overwhelming odds. You take a brief moment to breathe, to acknowledge the step forward, but it's short-lived. The storm doesn't care about your small victories. There's no time to linger. The next shot is waiting for you. Godric shoots next. His movements are slower now, the fatigue starting to catch up with him, but his shot lands closer to the target than before. His breathing is heavy, and you can see the strain in his posture, but there's fire in his eyes that refuses to be extinguished. He's still in this. He resets, draws, and releases again. The storm may be weighing him down, but it hasn't broken him. Harold shoots next, and you see the struggle in his every movement. His hands tremble, his breath is ragged, but he draws again. He releases again. His shot misses, but it's a little closer this time. He doesn't stop. He doesn't give in to the frustration that's surely gnawing at him. His hands shake, but his resolve doesn't. He resets, draws, and shoots again. He might be tired, worn down, but he's still standing, still fighting. You draw your bow again, your arms are heavy, your legs numb, but the target is still there. The rain continues to pour, but you can't afford to let it consume you. You reset, aim, and release. The arrow strikes. Not perfect, not yet. But it's progress, and progress is enough. For now, it's enough. Lucian shoots again. Another perfect shot. The rain can't touch him. The storm can't break him. His form, his focus remain as unshakable as ever. You watch him, a small pang of envy rising within you. How can he do it? How can he remain so perfect in the face of this endless storm? But then you remind yourself his fight is his own. You have yours to win. Godric shoots again. His arrow flies straighter this time, landing closer to the center. He's still pushing, still striving for that elusive perfection. But it doesn't matter if it's perfect anymore. What matters is that he's still here, still fighting, and that's what keeps you going. Harold shoots again. His hands still tremble, but his focus has sharpened. The shot lands closer, a little better than the last. It's not perfect, but it's progress. And in this storm, in this battle against everything that's trying to break you, progress is enough. You draw your bow again, your fingers stiff, your breath shallow, but the target is still there. You focus. The storm isn't going to stop. The exhaustion isn't going to stop, but you won't stop either. You reset, aim, and release. Another shot, another step forward. It's closer. Not perfect, but enough. The storm rages on. The rain keeps falling, the wind howls, and every part of you aches with fatigue, but you keep going. You shoot again and again and again. Every shot is a testament to your refusal to give in. The target is still there, still waiting, and as long as it is, you'll keep shooting. You'll keep fighting. The hours stretch on, but you're still here. The storm may never stop, but neither will you. The storm is still relentless, a constant barrage of rain and wind, but you stand your ground. The cold bites into your skin, the rain soaks through to your bones, but you're still here. The weight of your bow presses down on you, each shot feeling heavier than the last, but you push through. You focus on the target. The storm may be relentless, but you are too. Lucian shoots again. The arrow strikes dead center, perfect as always. His form remains unbroken, his focus unwavering, his fight, despite the storm's unyielding assault. You can't help but watch him for a moment, admiring his precision, his consistency. It's maddening how effortless it seems for him, but you know that you can't afford to compare yourself to him. This fight is yours alone. You reset, draw the bowstring back. Every part of you aches, but you push through the exhaustion, focusing on the target. The rain still falls, the wind howls, but you don't stop. The arrow flies, striking a little closer to the center. It's not perfect, but it's progress. That's all you need right now. Progress. You breathe, wipe the rain from your face, and prepare for the next shot. Godric releases his shot. His movements have slowed, but there's still determination in his eyes. His shot isn't perfect, but it's better. A small victory in the face of everything weighing him down. He resets, draws, and shoots again. You watch him and realize that this fight isn't about perfection. It's about survival. It's about keeping going, even when every part of you wants to quit. Harold shoots again. His hands tremble, his focus wavering, but he doesn't stop. Even as his shot misses again, he resets. The frustration doesn't consume him. It may be wearing him down, but it hasn't broken him yet. He's still here. So are you. You draw your bow again. The target feels so far away, but you focus. You block out the rain, the exhaustion, the cold. It's just you and the shot. You release, and it's better than the last one. Not perfect, but a small step forward. That's enough for now. Lucian shoots again, his arrow striking true. His form is flawless, but you see it now, just a flicker of hesitation, a subtle sign that the storm is wearing him down too. It's almost imperceptible, but you notice it. He's not invincible. Even he feels the weight of this. But he doesn't stop. Neither do you. You reset. Draw. Aim. Release. The arrow lands a little closer this time. It's not perfect, but it's progress. You reset, draw, and shoot again. Godric releases another shot. This time, it's even closer to the center. You can see the exhaustion, the strain in his every movement, but there's no sign of him giving up. He's still in this. And that's the key. He's not stopping, even when everything inside him is telling him to quit. Harold releases his shot again, like it's still not perfect, but this time it's closer. The frustration has been replaced by something else, determination. He's not just shooting, he's surviving. You can see it in the way he moves, in the way his eyes flicker with resolve. He's still here, and he's not going anywhere, and so are you. The storm rages on, the rain continues to pour, but you keep shooting, one arrow at a time, each shot a testament to your determination, to your refusal to give in. You draw, aim, release. The storm may never stop, but you won't stop either. You've come this far, and the target is still there, waiting. You reset, you shoot, and you survive. The storm still rages, its intensity unwavering, as if it has no intention of letting up. The cold is a constant, biting at your skin, while the rain continues to fall in an endless torrent, each drop a reminder of the struggle you face. The world around you blurs, mud, water, exhaustion. But through it all, the target remains, standing firm against the storm. And you, despite the weight of it all, continue to fight, one shot at a time. Lucian shoots again, his arrow flying true, hitting the bullseye as effortlessly as he always does. His form remains flawless, his focus unbroken, even as the storm howls around him. There's a moment, though, a small flicker of weariness in his eyes that betrays the toll this storm has taken on him. But he doesn't let it show for long. He resets, draws again, and releases another perfect shot. He's not immune to the storm, but he's still fighting, still pushing. And as maddening as it is to see his perfection, it's also a reminder that even when everything around you is falling apart, you keep moving forward. You reset, drawing your bow again. The weight of the bow feels heavier than ever, your body screaming for respite, but you block out the fatigue, the pain, the storm. You focus on the target, the next shot. You aim. You release. It's not perfect, it's close though. The arrow lands just a little off-center, but it's progress. That's what matters now. Every shot is a small victory, a step forward, and that's enough to keep you going. Godric shoots next. His body moves slower, his shots a little more deliberate, but the determination in his eyes hasn't faded. His next arrow lands closer to the center, and though the exhaustion is clear in his movements, he doesn't stop. He resets again, draws the string back, and releases another shot. The storm is wearing him down, but it hasn't beaten him yet, not while he still has the will to fight. Harold releases his shot. It misses again. The frustration is evident on his face, but even as his body trembles, even as the storm's weight bears down on him, he resets, draws again, releases again. It's not perfect, but it's closer, and that's all you can ask for. He's still fighting, still pushing forward. You take another breath, resetting once again. The bow feels heavier with each pull, your arms screaming, but the target is still there. You draw, you aim, you release. This time, it's better. Not perfect, but better. The storm may never end, but neither will you. The exhaustion may pull at your limbs, but it can't break your resolve. You keep moving forward, shot by shot. Lucian shoots again, another perfect shot. There's no hesitation, no sign of weakness. But you notice it, that brief shift in his stance, that subtle sign of the storm catching up to him. He's still perfect, but for the first time, he shows a hint of fatigue. And yet he doesn't stop. He resets, draws, releases. Another perfect shot. Even as the storm wears him down, he endures. And you remind yourself, you're not here for perfection. You're here to survive. You reset again. The storm is pressing in, but you focus. You block out everything but the target. You aim. You release. The arrow flies true, landing closer to the center. Progress. A small victory in a world of unrelenting pressure. It's enough to keep you moving forward, one shot at a time. Godric shoots again. His arrow lands even closer to the center, a sign that he's not giving up. He may not be perfect, but he's still in this fight. He resets, draws, and shoots again. And though his body aches, though the exhaustion drags at him, he doesn't stop. Neither do you. Harold takes another shot. It's still not perfect, but it's closer. The frustration is fading, replaced by something else, a quiet determination. He's not just trying to hit the target, he's proving that no matter how worn down he is, no matter how much the storm is trying to break him, he can still fight. And so can you. You draw again, your hands trembling, your body worn down by the storm, but the target is still there, still waiting. You focus, aim, and release. The arrow lands closer to the center. Another small victory, another step forward. The rain keeps falling, the wind keeps howling. The storm doesn't stop, but neither do you. You reset, draw, and shoot again. The exhaustion is overwhelming, but the target is still there, and as long as it is, you'll keep fighting. One shot at a time, and maybe, just maybe, that's enough. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I'm really glad the story resonated with you. Just like the characters in the storm, there's something deeply powerful about persistence, about continuing to move forward even when everything feels like it's working against you. Every shot, no matter how imperfect, brings you closer to something bigger, something meaningful. It definitely made me reflect on the challenges we all face in life, those storms that seem never ending. But it's in those moments of struggle that we really get to see who we are and what we're made of. The persistence, the grit, it's what helps us keep going when the world seems tough. I'd love to hear more about how this story connected with you personally. Have there been times in your life when you've had to push through your own storm? What kept you going? And of course, feel free to share the story if it spoke to you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories ahead. There's always more to discover, and I can't wait to continue the journey with you. Stay strong, and I'll catch you next time.